Good evening. Have you heard there's a kickabout going on tonight? Of course you have. Good evening and welcome to our live coverage, the alternative commentary from the Commentary Hub in association with JB Sports of England against Scotland. The 115th time they've played each other today. The 115th time they will be playing each other tonight. And this really is a winner-takes-all clash of massive proportions. Remember, it's not the first time, remember, they've actually played each other in the European Championships. Remember Euro 96?
Seems the man of the moment here now. Finds Neville with it. There's the cross coming in. A brilliant goal as well. Superbly worked after such a disappointing first half. They really got amongst them, and it was a super England move, and it was a great cross from Neville. And there's Shearer. Penalty for Scotland. Alison's no goal. A brilliant save. And Alisson holds his head. And Scotland denied an equalising goal. Look at it again. Oh, yes. Gascoigne, he can finish it here. Gascoigne. 2-2. Would you believe it? From one end of the field to the other. The crowd are in raptures. The end of players too. When it could so easily a minute ago have been 1-1. Seaman's save kept England ahead, and now Gascoigne has increased it to 2-0. And England are marching towards the quarterfinals.
For which they did, and they got to the semi-finals before losing on penalties to Germany. That was the last time these two teams met in the European Championships, and it's the only time, incidentally, out of their previous 114 matches, they've actually met in a knockout or in a tournament or met in tournament play. Most of the games have been played in the old international tournaments, and Scotland have had their fair share of wins there too. Remember 1967 when they were world champions? 1976 when Dalglish nutmegged Ray Clements. A year later, they won 2-1, and the Scottish fans invaded the pitch and tore the goalpost down. So they've had some great moments, Scotland. So for Scotland, going to Wembley is like used to be the annual pilgrimage. There's a lot of Scottish supporters in Wembley tonight, and there will be a terrific atmosphere. Right, enough about the history. Let's talk about the future. Let's join our commentator for the game. He's got all the vital team news for you all. Let's bring in Mike Arneman. Good evening, Mike. What's the teams, my friend?
Good evening, JB, and good evening, everybody that's tuned in as well. So the two sides line up like this. Scotland line up with Marshall in goal, a back three of McTominay, Hanley and Kieran Tierney, midfield of Gilmore, McGregor and McGinn. Fullbacks are O'Donnell, Robertson, and then up front is Che Adams and QPR's Lyndon Dykes. Whereas England line up with Jordan Pickford in goal. Reece James comes in at right back to replace Kyle Walker. John Stones and Tyrone Mings continue at centre-back alongside each other, with Harry Maguire fit enough for a place on England's bench. Luke Shaw comes in at left-back to replace Kieran Trippier. And then in midfield, we've got Calvin Phillips of Leeds United, Declan Rice of West Ham, and Mason Mount of Chelsea. And then the front line is Phil Foden of Manchester City. Of course, the talisman and the captain, Harry Kane, and Raheem Sterling, completing the England lineup for this evening's game. And the referee is Antonio Mateo Lahoz, and he's actually refereed both nations once, with Scotland actually with him actually refereeing Scotland in the playoffs, sorry, I should say. And actually the only other time he's refereed an England game, England won 7-0. So I'm sure we'd all take that tonight.
Well, I'm sure we will, but I'm sure Scotland will have a lot to say about that, I'm sure. Thank you, Mike, for the moment anyway. And I've got two special guests. I'm not sure if we got Justin Hoyt in at the moment, but we certainly do have Russ Burning with me. What a game this is going to be tonight, Russ. What battles do you expect will be won or lost between the two sides here tonight?
Good evening, JB. Good evening, Mike. Good evening to everyone who's listening as well. And I think tonight, if you just look at the midfield from England again, Phillips will have that license to get forward. And it'd be good to see the battle between Phillips and Gilmore tonight, and Phillips and McGinn, who went battle last season in the Premier League for Leeds against Miller and Leeds against Chelsea. It'd be interesting to see Mount against Gilmore as well. Both know each other from the time at Chelsea and the club side of Chelsea, along with Reece James as well. So it'll be interesting there. Foden will love to get forward and cause quite a few problems as well. So I'm looking forward to an interesting game, and I think England can get the job done, JB.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I think they could get the job done, but obviously, Russ, of course, once we got Justin Hoyte in, we will ask him a couple of questions, hopefully, before kickoff. He's just trying to get in at the moment. So bear with us. We will get Justin Hoyte with us. But to any Scotsman, really, Russ, I mean, you just have to say the word England to any Scottish player, and they're playing with the national side, and they are smack bang up for it, aren't they?
They are, JB. They are indeed. And I was listening to a podcast yesterday, the Tartan Army podcast, which was done by one of my good friends, Stuart Hodge. He's a Scotsman. And when I put in the score prediction yesterday of a 3-0 win to England, and I'm sticking with that as well, he's actually saying you could actually see that happening after the way Scotland played in their opening match on Monday. And I think if England go about it the same way we went about the Croatia game, I think it can be a tough game for Scotland. And we've got Justin Hoyte with us as well, JB. And I just want to quickly ask Justin before I head off as well. And so I'm going to be heading off downstairs in a moment. But just to quickly get your thoughts, England have made 2 changes tonight with Shaw and James coming in. What do you think that's a good move from Gareth Southgate, fetching those 2 into the side?
Yeah, I think it's a great choice by Gareth Southgate there. I think he's made that change for an attacking 2 fullbacks with Reece James and Luke Shaw. I think they're going to be very attacking in this game, and I think it'll be perfect for England. And that just shows the strength in depth England have. You can take 2, say, world-class fullbacks out and put 2 new ones in that are going to be, even better than what they had last game. So I'm sure they're going to be a lot of attacking threat down there and put in a lot of crosses and supplies for Harry Kane.
Yeah, thank you. And Justin, just a quick one from me before we head over to Mike in the commentary box, because the teams are just about to come out. Raheem Sterling pointing out, now, you as an ex-defender, how would you, if you were up against Raheem Sterling tonight with his pace and his power and the way that his skills, how would you nullify him? And what do Scotland have to do to nullify him? And what would you do if you were in the Scotland side and you were up against him one-on-one?
In the first few minutes, I think I would let him know what sort of game he's in for. Be a little bit physical, but not too physical that I'm going to get a booking early on. But just get as tight as I can, not let him have too much space, not give him space to run or time on the ball, and just to deny him any opportunity to get his legs open and run at you really and turn and face you one-on-one. I'm sure Scotland are going to be well aware of his threat as well as Foden. And I'm sure they're going to be paying a lot of attention to him and stopping them diagonal runs that he likes to make that you've seen when he was at Man City. And I'm sure he'll be making the same kind of runs for England. But I'll be letting him know in the first few minutes what kind of physical game we're going to be in for.
There you go. Thank you very much, Justin. You make your way into the commentary box. We're going to hand over now. We'll hear from Russ again at half-time. But now I'm going to hand you over to our 2 commentators, the aforementioned Justin Hoyte, who's alongside our big match commentator tonight, Mike Harniman.
Thank you very much, JB. And of course, they are currently going through the national anthems right now. We've got the Scottish national anthem just being sung at the moment. And there's quite a few Scots there as well. And the Tartan Army looked like they're out in full force in London at Wembley tonight as well, Justin. So it's a good backing from Scotland as well.
Yeah, it's a great backing. We're always going to have their fans there, full of support. It's always a big game against England. The players are going to be well up for it and the fans are going to be well up for it. So it's going to be a great atmosphere on a rainy day on a wet pitch. It looks like it's going to be a good classic battle between 2 good sides.
Absolutely, and if you look at the two lineups as well, of course, where can it be won and lost as well? Of course, Harry Kane's there, Raheem Sterling, Mason Mount, Phil Foden. If you look at Scotland, they've of course got Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams as well. And then of course, if you look at the fullbacks, Andy Robertson, and of course Kieran Tierney as well, who you yourself used to play for Arsenal. So what are your thoughts on obviously Kieran Tierney as a player?
I think he's a great player. I think he's done fantastic for Arsenal. It was a great signing for Arsenal. Whenever he's played for Arsenal, he's been great. He's a great signing, and he's done very, very well at left back. And I'm sure now coming into the Scotland side, he's going to be very, very good. Playing in the back three, he'll be very versatile, good on the ball, good defensively on one-on-ones, and he'll be very organised. I can see him and Andrew Robertson having a good partnership and trying to combat Reece James and Phil Foden. I can see Phil Foden coming inside a lot and Reece James attacking down the wing. So it'd be interesting. I think that's a good battle between on the wing there, between Reece James, Phil Foden, Andrew Robertson and Kieran Tierney. I think it'd be a great battle there on that hand side.
And I think that's why that they brought in Reece James as well. Kyle Walker isn't short of pace, but Reece James was fantastic for Chelsea. And if you look at Luke Shaw, of course, Luke Shaw being the natural left back that he is obviously something that Kieran Trippier doesn't have in his locker because he's more obviously used to playing on the right-hand side.
Yeah, I think that's why he's made that change. The strength and speed and power of Reece James is going to create something different for the Scottish team to think about. And Luke Shaw, a natural left-sided player, gives you more options and easier. He's literally left-footed, so it's easier for him to slot in there where, Kieran Trippier is used to his right side, so he normally comes inside a lot. So yeah, it'd be a different dynamic for the England team, and it'd be interesting and very good to watch the fullback battle against the wing-backs of Scotland.
And absolutely, if you look at some facts between the two nations as well, of course, at the start of the programme there, JB brought everyone back to 1996 when, of course, it was a 2-0 victory for England on that occasion with Alan Shearer and Paul Gascoigne scoring the goals and Gary McAllister, the ex-Leeds and Scotland captain at the time, missing a penalty as well, which was saved by David Seaman in that game, where England, of course, went on to reach the semi-finals of that competition. And, what are your memories around about that game? And, I know yourself, you were involved in England squads in the past in regards to, the under-16s, the under-18s, the under-20s and the under-21. So did you come up against Scotland much in, your kind of early years in international career?
Yeah, we did once or twice in the European Championships and other friendlies, and it is always a battle. Back then it was more physical, more crunching tackles that you probably won't see in this game today because you'll get a yellow card. But we was always up for it. We always knew we wanted to beat Scotland, and Scotland wanted to beat us. It was like a rivalry, like you have at club level, but international is a completely different level and experience. So both sides will be up for it. They know what both at stake. The fans want bragging rights, and I'm sure the players, they've got players that play on the same team, so they're going to want to get one over on them also. But England Scotland is always a huge game, and fans in England and fans in Scotland are going to be watching this closely, and a lot of fans are going to be cheering and shouting at the TV for both teams to win.
Absolutely, and the game is just about to get underway. They've just taken the knee as well, and it's going to be Che Adams to kick off for Scotland, and he just knocks it back now to the defence and hook clear on towards, I think that was the number 9, Lyndon Dykes there as well. And Lyndon Dykes, of course, New Zealand born, but he's playing for Scotland. I'm not too sure what the reasoning behind that is of, whether it's a family member. I'm not too sure who his family member it is of how he gets into the Scottish reckoning, but he's a big player for them, isn't he?
He is a big player for them. He's going to be huge for them in this game. He's coming to the side and done well, so he's going to be a huge addition to the team, and I'm sure he can do very, very well tonight. And
England have just got is that a throw-in or a free kick there? Let's just have a look. I think it was, it's gone behind for a throw-in, which Luke Shaw of Manchester United is going to take, and he's just holding his sort of groin there, or he's rubbing the ball against himself anyhow, and he's going to take the throw in there and just throws it down the line, but it's well defended by Scotland.
The ball's a bit wet there. I think they're trying to get the wetness off the ball. Yeah, long can throw it.
That's a little bit different to the game earlier on that took place in Scotland, because Scotland actually seems to have better weather than what we've got, which is very rare.
Yeah, very, very rare. Normally it's sunshine in England and rain in Scotland. Maybe they brought the
Raheem Sterling just knocked off the ball there by McGinn, and Scotland just in possession there and just playing it around now. And it's with the number 2, O'Donnell, and he's going to have to go back to Marshall as well. And it's a big game for Marshall, considering the fact he let in 2 last time out, and the second one was a mistake of his own as well.
Yeah, it's a big game for him. Obviously, after making that mistake, he probably misjudged the effort, but now it's a huge game for him, and the manager's giving him confidence and putting him back in there, so will not want to make any mistakes and make some few good saves in the first opening minutes if he has to.
It's Luke Shaw now knocking it to Tyrone Mings, who's going to play it on to John Stones, and he's going to play it out to Reece James, and just while England are just knocking it about here, Harry Maguire on the bench today. Gareth Southgate's come out and said he probably will give him a bit of game time or involve him. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's a good thing for Gareth Southgate to put Maguire in and give him a little bit of a game through maybe the second half?
Yeah, I think it is. He needs minutes. Obviously coming back from the injury, he needs some game time. Just to see, if he is fully fit to play later on in the tournament. Or if not, if he's needed during this game, just to see how he is and to see how he copes and see how he feels after the game. So yeah, it's good to see him back in the side and on the bench, and hopefully he can get some few minutes tonight, and hopefully be all right for the next game to even maybe start or play a few more minutes, because he's going to be key. I was going to
say he's come a very long way as Harry Maguire as well, from League One with Sheffield United all the way to getting that big move to Man United for 80 million from Leicester, and now being an England regular as well, and it's a big signing for Man United, wasn't it, at that time? And he's gone on to do well for club and for country, as Scotland have just won a throw in there. But in regards to Harry Maguire, he's a really good defender, isn't he? A good player.
Yeah, I think he's a really good defender and player. I think early on in the season when he first went to United, I think a lot of people weren't sure, but you can see as the latter stage of this season went on, how much he's grown into himself, and become a regular, and
There's a chance here. That was just a second there. That was O'Donnell just crossing it in, and I think it was Che Adams that had the effort, and it was well blocked by England. I think it might have been John Stones. I need to just see whether it was, but that was good build-up play from Scotland there, getting it out to O'Donnell, and O'Donnell had the better of Luke Shaw, and it was Che Adams that had the effort, and it did actually, as I say, come off of John Stones there as well. It was in the right place at the right time for England, and Scotland have started this game really brightly, and they're going to have another opportunity there, and it was well stifled out by Luke Shaw. But Scotland have come into this game, they're full of confidence, aren't they? They're really up for this.
Yeah, they're really, really up for it. You can see that early on in the stages of this game, and I'm sure they ain't going to need no motivation playing against England. They're going to be more than up for it. And ready for anything that England throw at them, and I'm sure they're going to want to take it to England also.
And that's it. When you look at their lineup, they have gone very attacking as well. More attacking than what many people expected that they would have done, and they really are just trying to go all out in attack here as well. And that can hit teams on the counter sometimes, or hit them by surprise. Because if you look at Denmark, I know they were obviously started off very brightly against Belgium and got an early goal. When you've got something to play for, whether it's because obviously they were playing for Christian Eriksen and playing in support of him, but Scotland, obviously they know about this rivalry, and it's it's been a really bright start from them, and they've really started on the front foot.
Yeah, they have really positive. I think that's what they want to do. They want to start on the front foot. They don't want to start on the back foot, because if England gain confidence early, I think it'd be a hard task for Scotland. But I think they've started off really well in the first couple of minutes of this game, and we'll see if they can keep it up as the game progresses. Just
a free kick here for England now, and it's going to be, I think that's Reece James over it. It's going to just knock it to John Stones, and John Stones is going to just play it. He's going to take a couple of touches first of all, in fact, and just slow down the play a little bit, and maybe just get a little bit of possession for England, but now it's with Reece James again, and on it goes to, I think that was Mason Mount possibly. There's a free kick in there anyhow with McGinn just fouling his man, and it was Harry Kane. Harry Kane, of course, was the top goal scorer in the qualifying, and first game out, he was really a shadow of himself, wasn't he? It's a big night for him as well. It's
a big night for him. He's going to want to get on the score sheeting and gain a bit of confidence from scoring. I'm sure he'd be disappointed he didn't get on the score sheet and wasn't his usual self. But I'm sure as the game goes on, he'll get more chances, and even later on in this tournament, England hopefully progress. You'll see more of Harry Kane's ability, but he'll be wanting to get on the score sheet in this game for sure.
And it's going to be taken by Mason Mount or Phil Foden, who's over this free kick now. Just going to see who's actually going to whip it in. It looks like it might be Mason Mount. Just confirm for you in a second. It's just hopefully going to be, it is Mason Mount. It's whipped in and it's knocked on there by Declan Rice, I believe, and all the way through to Marshall. And Declan Rice, is another player. Man of the match went to Calvin Phillips last time out, but Declan Rice had a very good game as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a great game. I think he's done great for West Ham this season, and he's done great in the last game for England. He's been a great addition to the England squad. I think he's a perfect player to have in that holding midfield role.
And there's a free kick here for Scotland against Calvin Phillips on John McGinn, and it's a dangerous position here for Scotland on this left side. Probably going to be a Robertson delivery or a Kieran Tierney delivery, and of course there'll be the big men coming up from the back, Grant Hanley, etc. as well now, who can cause problems. It's going to be Robertson over it. I think it might be Tierney alongside him as well. It's between the two that are going to take it, I believe. And let's have a look here. It's going to be whipped in. In fact, the referee is just organising the two sets of walls, etc. And it's whipped in by, I think, Kieran Tierney that time. And good header there by Tyrone Mings. He beat his man to it and had to get it clear and done very well to do so. It's now in possession with Andy Robertson and knocked on by Lyndon Dykes and only on to Jordan Pickford there, who just comes out and brings the ball back into his area where he can pick it up. And it's an interesting start to the game, as I mentioned. And England are starting to grow into it a little bit now, Justin, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I think they've weathered, Scotland's early chances well, and now they're starting to get a foothold in the game and starting to put their mark on the game and trying to put their game plan into play rather than letting Scotland dictate the play.
And you can see it there as well. They're just knocking it around, quite sort of simply, sort of 1-2s and just very short passes there. And in fact, just Phil Foden there onto Calvin Phillips, and Calvin Phillips just fouled his man. But England just kind of playing it short and just keeping the ball really now, and then they're going to try and break Scotland down that way.
Yeah, I think that's what England going to break. I think that's the best way. I think that's how England are going to play. I think that's what they're best at doing. Playing the short passes and then trying to break Scotland down, getting the Foden in the half spaces there, and trying to create something there.
And of course, Gareth Southgate's got good memories of playing Scotland as well. He was part of that team alongside Tony Adams at centre back, I believe, when England won 2-0. And obviously that's something that's very vital as well. I'm sure he would have got the message across there to his England team throughout the last few days there, and showing the videos of that as well. And Gareth Southgate, of course, went on to have a few mishaps in that tournament. Of course, he missed the penalty. There was the main one, but the fact, obviously, his partner in Tony Adams in that defence against Scotland is a big moment for him, and he's able to use that to his advantage now to help out his side. But here's Reece James in possession, and on to Phil Foden, and in fact, he's going to go back to Reece James once more and play it into Raheem Sterling, and on to Foden now. And England are into the area here. Phil Foden is going to knock it on to Mason Mount, and Mason Mount's going to get a shot at goal, and it's taking a deflection off of the Scottish man there. Might have been Hanley, in fact, to go behind for a corner kick. And just what I was saying there, to kind of elaborate on that with Gareth Southgate, a man that you know very well, as you touched on the stream yesterday, Justin, and I'm sure he's used that to his advantage, hasn't he, as well? The fact that he was involved in that game when England won 2-0 in '96.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure he would have shown a few videos of that game and a few motivational videos, maybe a day before the game or just before the game. I'm sure he would have had 1 or 2 motivational videos going and
It's whipped in. Oh, it's
showing what he needs to do.
off the post by Declan Rice, I believe that was there, and that's the closest England have come. What a ball that was from the corner as well. Declan Rice beat everybody, rose like a salmon, and you know the header was cannoned off the post and away from danger. And in fact, it was John Stones, not Declan Rice there. John Stones up from the back and great delivery. And John Stones free and unmarked, and yeah, inches away from being 1-0 England. That. What an effort that was. Fantastic from John Stones. And he got the better of John McGinn. And that was super, super close there, Justin, wasn't it? John Stones very nearly opened the scoring.
He did nearly open the scoring. He got 3 in the middle there. Great header. Jumped well, leapt up well. And then lucky for Scotland, it come off the post. But it was a great delivery and a great header. And unfortunately, it's not in the back of the net. But it was a great chance and the closest England have got so far from a set piece.
And it's now McTominay. He's just been dispossessed there by Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling's into the box now, and he's played it across to Mason Mount. And Mason Mount has just put that one wide of the goal as well. And England there twice in about a minute have become, really very close there, in fact, to getting the opening goal.
Yeah, they were very close. I was just looking at the John Stones chance again. It was a great header. Looked like it was going in from my angle, but luckily it hit the post. But now England looking closer. Looks like they're knocking on the door with another chance, and I think they're growing in confidence now. England.
Absolutely, you can see the confidence is growing, and England are really starting to put the stamp on the game now and get on the front foot. Of course, John Stones had that opportunity, and then the one there from Mason Mount as well. When Scotland were a little bit shook for a minute, they actually do look a little bit shaken by the fact that England have come out so well. But they are in attack now with Che Adams going to try and feed the ball through to Lyndon Dykes, and Jordan Pickford comes out and is just comfortably able to claim that one and just fall down on the ball, as goalkeepers tend to do, and just waste a second or two.
Kill a bit of time, take a breather, regroup.
Absolutely, and it's with John Stones again now, and here is Reece James of Chelsea. Had a fantastic season, of course, was excellent in the Champions League final as well, wasn't he, Justin? He was brilliant against Man City. Yeah,
it was great against Man City. I really like him as a fullback. Even when he first started getting into the Chelsea first team and playing a few games, I really liked him. He's very adventurous. And he can also play in midfield, which I think is an asset to him as well. He's big, powerful, good on the ball, and he's got a great delivery on him. But in the Champions League, he was a great player. And he's going to be huge and a key player for England. Not so great for Kyle Walker, obviously, but he's good for England.
Free kick here for England now. Calvin Phillips was just caught, and in fact, the referee, I don't think he's even given the free kick, has he, or has he? No, in fact, he gave it the other way. He gave it in favour of Scotland, in fact. So it's, I think it was Kyle Walker that actually, not Kyle Walker, sorry, what was his name? The Leeds guy. Calvin Phillips, sorry.
Calvin Phillips, yeah.
Because we were talking about Kyle Walker. It's on my mind.
I was talking about Kyle Walker, yeah. It's Calvin Phillips, yeah. Just seen it, yeah.
Calvin Phillips just fouled his man. And let's have a look here. It's England in possession now, though, just with Tyrone Mings. And back to Jordan Pickford. And he's going to just play it long. And Grant Hanley wins his header and knocks it on to Lyndon Dykes up against Tyrone Mings. And the Aston Villa defender does very, very well there. Just to shepherd him off the ball when Lyndon Dykes is looking for a free kick. And in fact, there's been a yellow card here as well. I think it might have gone to John McGinn. He was complaining about something, whether it was a potential foul. And Tyrone Mings looked like he was holding back Lyndon Dykes. I wonder if it might have been for Tyrone Mings, in fact, the free kick that was given. Although it did look like he just gave the yellow card to John McGinn there. In fact, yeah, he has. The referee's given it to John McGinn there for his complaints, and Scotland didn't even get the free kick there, which for me, I thought they probably deserved from, how it looked in play. It's just with McGinn now, and he's going to get the cross in as Robertson as well. If that was it. Kieran Tierney, in fact, maybe even, yeah. No, it was Robertson. I was right first time out. Maybe I should stick to my gut.
Yeah, you should, yeah.
It's gone behind for a throw-in anyway to Scotland. And what did you make of that just a moment ago with that John McGinn getting himself in the book? You know, because I think, you know, he's got every right to complain about that. I think that's a free kick for me all day long.
Yeah, I think it's a free kick. I think he's kind of complaining maybe the hands up by Tyrone Mings there. I think that's what he's kind of complaining about. But I think you're in your right to complain. Maybe he overstepped the mark by a few harsh words and the referee didn't like it, so he's booked him. But no, for sure, you should be able to complain about that. I mean, by the looks of it, it looked like it was going to be a foul to Scotland, but unfortunately it wasn't. He picked up a yellow and, you know, the referees not having no nonsense here at the moment. Scotland aren't happy about a few things.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, the referees at this tournament have been pretty good so far as well. And the referee today is Antonio Mateo Lajuz of Spain. Pau Sebran Davis is an assistant alongside Roberto Del Palomar. VAR is Alejandro Hernandez. As England are in here now with Phil Foden's got a lovely touch there. And Phil Foden, wow, just put that one wide of the goal. Great first touch. The flag's gone up for offside anyway, but I think it was it might have been Reece James that played the ball to him. In fact, it wasn't even. It was it might have been John Stones. In fact, it's a beautiful touch by Phil Foden. Actually, kind of Gazza-esque, really, and then he's directed it wide of David Marshall's goal. And great touch from Foden, just almost able to get it on target, but not quite. Yeah,
I'm just watching it again. Again now, it's brilliant touch. He's got a great first touch on him. And as you say, Gazza-esque like with his hairstyle as well. And one sec, I'm just watching it again here. That's good little run from him as well. Great run in behind there. So I was just watching it again, but great touch. And unfortunately, he's put it wide. Used to him coming close and taking it on in the half spaces, but a great little run and a great through ball there, as you say, by John Stones.
And England have come close, you know, a number of occasions now. Mason Mount, that one there by Phil Foden, and of course John Stones, who you just mentioned, is hitting the post as well. And Harry Kane just whipped one out there too. Reece James now, and his Foden again. There's Calvin Phillips on to Reece James now, and England just playing it short and simple. But yeah, you know, Scotland started off this game pretty brightly, but England have had the chances so far.
Yeah, they've had the better of the chances so far. I mean, Scotland started well in the first 5 to 10 minutes, but you can kind of see that England are now starting to really stamp their authority on this game, get a bit more comfortable, feel more settled, and looking to create more chances than Scotland have, really.
And there's a corner now as well. It's Mason Mount just tried to get that cross, and it's gone behind off of a Scottish man for a corner ball. And Mason Mount, I think, is going to take the corner himself as well. And John Stones is coming up from the back again in the hope that he can go one better than hitting the post as he did not too long ago and actually find his effort nestled in the back of the net this time. But let's see what happens from this Mason Mount delivery.
I'm sure they'll be trying to hit him again.
And it was a good header there by Grant Hanley of Scotland. And looks like they're going to counter as well. They've got a good option to counter here through... I think that might have been McGregor, the Scottish midfielder, and it's just taken a touch off him, and then it's gone all the way through to Jordan Pickford. And you know, I think Scotland were a little bit more alert, knowing that England obviously, you know, come very close from the corner beforehand.
Yeah, more tighter marking there, making sure they're not marking the wrong players, and I'm sure now they'll be more cautious on set pieces now after John Stones getting that free header in the box and hitting the post. They're not going to want to have that to happen again or more often in the game, because I'm sure if that does happen again, it'll be in the back of the net.
Here's Phil Foden now and on towards Mason Mount, but I think it was McTominay who won the header, Manchester United man, of course, and there's an offside in there now against Phil Foden, and Raheem Sterling just got a little shove there by Grant Hanley off the ball as he just wanted to get the ball back to get on with things quickly. I think that did the Scottish centre-back, and that they've been able to do. And now it is with Che Adams, and now it's with Billy Gilmour of Chelsea. And Billy Gilmour is a fantastic talent as well. You know, everyone's talking about the England squad and the England talent, but Billy Gilmour for Chelsea and even for Scotland has been great, hasn't he, as well, the last few seasons?
Yeah, he's been great. I think he's a great player for Chelsea, and he'll be a great player for Scotland. Young player, but very talented. He's going to be really good in the Chelsea team for sure, and for Scotland. Putting him in, giving him chances, and getting that game experience, international level, and especially put him in this game. I think it's great. Great of the manager to do that, and he's going to relish this opportunity, and he's done fantastic so far, and I'm sure he'll continue that throughout this tournament and throughout his career. He's a very, very good player.
It's a free kick here for Scotland now. Lyndon Dykes just fouled there. John Stones going over the top of him, and it's going to be on this left-hand side. It's going to be either Robertson or Tierney, and just want to see which man it is. I think Gilmore's over it, in fact, as well. It's Gilmore and Robertson, I believe, and it's Gilmore that whips it in, looking towards the back post of Grant Hanley, and whips on, and well defended there by England, and just able to get it. And I think it's Kieran Tierney. That good effort, I think that was from the Arsenal man, and beaming smile from Kieran Tierney there. Kieran Tierney, everyone knows about him in the Arsenal ranks. Arsenal fans love Kieran Tierney to pieces, and actually, a lot of people want him as captain as well.
Yeah, they do. They love him. I think they love the way he is as a player. I think he loves Arsenal, so he leaves his heart on the field, gives 110% in every game, and he's a leader already, and you can see why the Arsenal fans love him and why they're shouting for him to be captain off the side. He's a leader, and I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm happy he's part of the Arsenal setup, and I would shout for him to be captain also.
And of course, it's with Luke Shaw now, and Arsenal are currently captained by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and he celebrates his birthday as well in other football news. So happy birthday to Aubameyang. And let's get back to the here and now, though, as it's with Tyrone Mings on to Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw just plays it back to Tyrone Mings once more. And Tyrone Mings is going to just take a couple of touches and then play it on to John Stones, and then give it back to the Aston Villa centre-back once more, who's going to just slow down the play and then knock it out to Reece James of Chelsea, and then in to John Stones once more, the man that's come closest for either side and opening the scoring so far. Here's Reece James once more now. Now it is Calvin Phillips of Leeds United. Of course, was fantastic last time out, wasn't he, Justin? Got a deserved man of the match award.
Yeah, fantastic in the last game. For me, he was man of the match also. He was all over the field, great on the ball, hardly gave the ball away. When it was there to be, tackle needed to be made, he made it. Very composed on the ball, a very, very good player. And you can see why he was man of the match of the last game.
And it's just been knocked around with England playing it in midfield, and now it's with John Stones once more, looking for Mason Mount, and he lets it over his head to Luke Shaw. We are just entering the 24th minute of the game, by the way. We've got 24 minutes on the clock now, and it's with Raheem Sterling just down the line there from the England midfielder, and it's unlucky there. Well seen out by Scott McTominay, and it's actually gone off an England man for a Scotland throw as well. I think it came off his Man United teammate Luke Shaw, in fact.
Yeah, Sterling's been very quiet so far in this game. But I'm sure as the game goes on, he'll get more and more involved in this.
And of course, Sterling was the man that was the difference last time out as well, wasn't he? Scoring the goal against Croatia, and very, local as well. He's a Wembley boy, isn't he? He's born not too far away from there.
No, he's not. That's the beauty of it. It means a lot to him. He's even got a tattoo of him outside of Wembley Stadium there. So no, he's well up for it, and he's more than happy to play, and I'm glad that Gareth Southgate has given him the opportunity to start in his last two games after having a difficult season on a personal note for him.
Lyndon Dykes has just been fouled there, and he's got a free kick here for Scotland. As see the Scottish fans there in full voice as well, and Andy Robertson, over the free kick, and well headed on by Tyrone Mings there now, and it's now with Calvin Phillips. In fact, it's Declan Rice that time, I should say, and now Phil Foden. And Phil Foden was caught there as well, and I think Che Adams didn't realise, or just wanted to waste a few seconds, because he managed to get a shot at goal away afterwards, and Certainly was a foul though by Kieran Tierney on Phil Foden there, and yeah, that's a little bit naughty, really needless when Phil Foden's dropped that far back and that far deep, really into a defensive position.
Yeah, you don't really want him in that defensive position. Really, you want him further up the field, causing a bit more danger. But at least he's doing his defensive duties. But yeah, it wasn't needed.
And now it's with John Stones on to Reece James and plays it into midfield. And in fact, Harry Kane had to drop into midfield there, and referee says no foul. And Scotland just have possession now with Gilmore, and on to McGregor as well, and out to Kieran Tierney and on to Robertson, who's going to whip across in and into the hands of Jordan Pickford there. Comes out and then just bowls the ball out to Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw's going to play it down the line, looking for Mason Mount there, and well defended by David Marshall, who done very well there for Scotland, and he'll be very sort of pleased really with the opening 27 minutes. When he's the Scotland goalkeeper, he's not had loads to do, and the fact that he made a mistake in the last game, you would have maybe expected England to be really at him, but England, bar that one chance from John Stones, haven't really tested the goalkeeper at all yet.
No, David Marshall hasn't had much to do really. The post come to his aid in the first half there, where John Stones had the set piece, but he hasn't really had anything to do. You'd thought England would really try and create and have a few more shots at goal to really test him early on in this game, but Scotland have stopped that really. So yeah, David Marshall will be happy so far with how things are going and how the defence are performing in front of him.
And there's Scotland just trying to play it down the line to Kieran Tierney there, but it was seen out by Reece James, and Jordan Pickford takes the goal kick there. It looked like the ball was moving, to be honest, but the referee has just said play on, and he's let it continue. It's with Calvin Phillips and now Reece James, and on to John Stones. And in to Reece James it goes again now on the right flank. And he's going to just play it into the central midfield to Declan Rice. And there is Raheem Sterling now. He's had to drop back a little bit there, a little bit deep, but picked up possession and then just played it to Declan Rice once more and on to John Stones, and then Reece James. And there's Harry Kane now. And Harry Kane couldn't direct his header past David Marshall there. Great delivery from Reece James, and Harry Kane continuing on really from the first game. It looked like he was onside. And that's the kind of position you certainly want Harry Kane to hit the target from.
Yeah, of course you do. That's the sort of positions Harry Kane wants to be in. That's the sort of board he wants. And for Harry Kane, the opportunities he wants in front of goal, and they're the sort of opportunities he wants to get that goal. He needs his first goal of the tournament.
And I'm sure, when he gets his first goal, it'd be like the old buses saying they'll all come along at once, and he'll probably end up getting a hat-trick in one game, knowing him.
Yeah, he probably will do. It might be this game, you never know. But yeah, I'm sure once he gets one goal, he'll be full of confidence, running about even more than he is now. And, you never know. He'll be scoring more than one a game probably. But it was a great ball there by Reece James.
And there's a free kick for Scotland, just as an offside in there as well now. And, as you say, a fantastic ball from Reece James there to pick out Harry Kane, and all the chances are coming for England so far. As it looks like Kieran Tierney on the overlap here is going to cut it back and get the cross in, looking for O'Donnell, and O'Donnell is forced to save there by Jordan Pickford. Brilliant save from the Everton man, and then Scotland weren't able to turn it home on the follow-up as well. I'm trying to see who it was with the follow-up, but originally from O'Donnell, that was a great save by Jordan Pickford. Got down low really well to turn that one away. Got a strong hand on that, and then Scotland just trying to see who it was following it in, but they weren't able to direct it on target anyway. I think it might have been Che Adams, in fact, but good effort there from O'Donnell, and first save of the game, and it's a great save from Jordan Pickford as well.
Yeah, this is a good little battle. Like I said, down the left-hand side of Scotland and the right-hand side of England, it's a great little battle between Reece James, Phil Foden, Andrew Robinson, Kieran Tierney. It's a great little battle. And both sides look like they're going to attack down that side as the game goes on. But it was a great chance there for Scotland. And I'm sure they're going to keep wanting to do that and pushing forward and putting the balls in the box.
Here's Reece James now for England, and England have got to be careful as well. So dominant in terms of the chances, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 chances on Scotland's goal, and still yet to get the first goal. And then that's what Scotland can do. They can cause you those problems. O'Donnell down that right side from right fullback, cut in well there and got a fantastic effort away. And Jordan Pickford, for everyone that slates him, he can make good saves like that and sort of save you at times as well.
Yeah, he can't get caught sleeping if he hasn't got much to do. But Scotland are very dangerous. You can't, take them too lightly. England can't relax because, Scotland can attack the way they just did in the last time and create chances. And they look dangerous as much as England have created the most chances.
Ball through there from Luke Shaw to Phil Foden. Sorry about that, mate. And Phil Foden couldn't keep the ball in play. He got a bit of a bad touch on that one, and the ball kind of carried away from him. But looked like Phil Foden was going to be in for a second there.
Unusual thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a great first touch really from Phil Foden, which, as you say, is very unusual from him. Yeah. It's just showing this save again, and it was Che Adams on the follow-up as well. And actually, when you see that save, you watch that back a couple of times, that gets better and better every time I see it, I think, for me.
Yeah, because that looks like it's rolled in the bottom-hand corner there. So it was a great save. Pickford's, I think he's done great for England. Every time he plays, he's been great. He has his criticism a lot sometimes, but I think he's been great for England.
And it's with Tyrone Mings now. Just the left centre-back. Knocks it on to John Stones, and John Stones going to look to play it out to Luke Shaw now. And in fact, Luke Shaw doesn't quite get there. It's gone to Mason Mount instead. Now Declan Rice. And on by Calvin Phillips to Tyrone Mings. And there is John Stones out to Reece James now. Here's Phil Foden. He switches the play across to Luke Shaw. Great cross-field pass as well. Now it's Raheem Sterling for England. Here's Mason Mount now. Mason Mount couldn't get his cross in to the box there. Got his cross a little bit wrong and couldn't get the power on it that was needed. But it's still with England and Reece James now. Phil Foden. Here's Reece James again. Now it's Calvin Phillips, and England just playing it in a nice little triangle there with Phil Foden as well. And now it is Declan Rice, and gets it back once more from Mason Mount as well. And Mason Mount tries to find Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling couldn't get on the end of that one. Couldn't get the touch that was needed to direct that on target. And again, it's good play from England. Good ball through to Raheem Sterling, and Raheem Sterling just couldn't quite reach the ball there.
No, he couldn't. But I think it's great patient build-up by England. As you see, England are very, very patient, good on the ball, and just waiting for that opportunity to open up, trying to stretch Scotland as much as they can. But it's good patient play there by England.
And that's what England needs to do as well, isn't it? Not rush, be patient in the build-up, and they've got the quality there to beat the Scottish sides, because Scotland are putting a lot into this game, so they will tire as well.
I think they'll tire. I think England keep creating them chances, keep making them runs in behind. They've got in a few times, the few opportunities they've got in, finding the through ball with the guys running in behind, like Sterling and Foden running in behind. So I think they're going to continue that patient build-up, and when the opportunity is there, they're going to find the runners in behind, and Scotland need to really be aware of that.
And it's back with O'Donnell now to Hanley, to McTominay, and to Gilmore, and now it's with Hanley. And so far, England are on top in terms of possession, 65% to Scotland's 35%, and only one shot on target from both sides so far as well. Of course, it was O'Donnell, that had the effort for Scotland, and that was the one that was well saved by Jordan Pickford. As for England, I can't even remember their effort on target right now. It was probably a next to nothing,
wasn't it?
No, because it come off the woodwork, so it doesn't class as on target.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, forget about that. When you're playing, I forget about that. For me, it's a shot on target. If it hits the post, it's a shot on target.
That's the same as me. I don't understand that. I don't understand
I don't know how they do it.
close
That's
to
a shot
scoring a
target.
goal and then But it's with Declan Rice now, and now it is Calvin Phillips. No, sorry, was that Reece James? Sorry, looking for Mason Mount and gone behind there. Was that gone behind for a corner or a free kick? It's actually a free kick there on Kieran Tierney. It was Phil Foden on Tierney.
Getting him back, I think, that one.
From something that happened a bit earlier, I believe it probably was. In fact, it was Mason Mount. I was right first time out. Just like Phil Foden was being spoken to by the referee there, but it was Mason Mount that caught Tierney. Probably getting a bit of revenge for the fact that Arsenal done the double over Chelsea.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, it's gone behind for an England throw-in now, and it is Chelsea's Reece James on the ball, and into West Ham's Declan Rice, and then back to Reece James once more, and then John Stones now, and he loses out as well, and there's a chance here for Scotland now. It's number 7 McGinn, and there's Che Adams now onto the right-hand side, looking for O'Donnell, and it's gone over his head and out of play for a throw-in, and good opportunity there for Scotland to get in, and just weren't able to get the ball right to O'Donnell. And of course, O'Donnell there has had that one opportunity already, so they're looking to use him again. It's with Luke Shaw now. Take this throw-in for England, and headed on by the Scottish midfielder McGregor, I think that was, and that's with Luke Shaw looking for Raheem Sterling. He miscontrols that, and Grant Hanley is in possession for Scotland. In fact, was it Kieran Tierney? No, it's Kieran Tierney. In fact, brings it out of defence, looking for Lyndon Dykes, who's up there, up against Reece James, and still got possession here of Scotland with the number 8 McGregor as well, and that's come cannoning off of Calvin Phillips and away for, I think, a Scotland throw that time, or is it a corner ball? Let's have a look. They're starting to put some pressure on England again now, Scotland as well. The last couple of minutes, and in fact it is a corner. They've got Grant Hanley coming up from the back as well. So Scotland have been, really coming on to England again in the last sort of 5-10 minutes again.
They're starting to put the pressure on again late on in the first half here, and really pushing to try and create some more chances and cause more of a danger up front and give the defence of England some trouble. So we'll see what happens from here.
And it's going to be a corner to Scotland, and it looks like they're swarming the box as well, crowding Pickford's box there, and Pickford comes out and punches it in the end and gets it clear to Raheem Sterling. And Raheem Sterling gives it to Phil Foden, and Raheem Sterling up against Kieran Tierney, and Kieran Tierney does very well just to knock it back to David Marshall there. And that was an interesting little bit of, tactic really from Scotland there. They've got everybody in the box pretty much, just all around Jordan Pickford, and just trying to get as many in that box as possible.
Yeah, I think they're trying to whip the ball in right underneath the goal there and just cause chaos really. I think you've seen a lot in this tournament, or in club level Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, that sometimes when you crowd the goal like that, put the ball right underneath it, the keeper can't come out for it. One of your players gets a header, or it deflects off the opponent's head or body and goes into the back of the net. So I think that's what they're going to do, and try and create another chance, an opportunity that way, rather than everyone attacking it. They're just going to try and put it underneath the keeper and see what happens from there.
Absolutely.
Very dangerous, that is.
It is very dangerous to do that, and you can always get an opportunity from that usually as well, and it's very hard to defend against that as well. And here is John Stones now for England, and he goes back to Tyrone Mings, and he goes on to Declan Rice. Declan Rice on to Raheem Sterling. Good touch there, and keeps the ball as well. And in fact, does the ball go out of play? No, it doesn't. He keeps it in play. In fact, no, it did go out at that time, and it's an England throw, which Luke Shaw going to take to Declan Rice with about 5 minutes of the 45 of the first half still to go. And of course, you're listening to the Commentary Hub and JB Sports in partnership for this Euro 2020 coverage. Is Declan Rice now for England, and it's now just with John Stones. via Reece James as well there. And there's Calvin Phillips there. And Calvin Phillips had a little bit of afters there with one of the Scottish men as well. The midfielder, couldn't quite see who it was, in fact. It might have been Che Adams who dropped back. I'm not too sure. But either way, it's, the referee didn't need to look at that. And Scotland are in possession now with Grant and Hanley. And Hanley goes back to Marshall. Marshall just hooks it clear, but Calvin Phillips wins the header and Phil Foden knocks it on. There's Reece James now and John Stones in possession. There's Reece James once more. And he's got it back this time as well from Calvin Phillips, and he's got it back, the Leeds United man now, and he's going to go back to John Stones and Tyrone Mings. And earlier on, I was going through the officials. I didn't look at the VAR officials as well. Alejandro Hernandez being one of those from Spain, Jose Mario Sanchez from Spain, and then Paolo Valeri and Filippo Meli from Italy, both of them respectively from Italy, I should say. And hopefully we don't have to mention them too much, but it's not a domestic game of football or an important game of football, I should say, at the moment without a VAR decision, is it, Justin?
No, I think it's in every game now. I think you see offside decisions, foul decisions, goal decisions. I think it's part and parcel of the game. Sometimes I think it works, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times I feel it does help just to give the officials a helping hand, because, sometimes it doesn't work in your favour, but sometimes it does. But I think it's there to help. And that's, you can see it
for England. It's like going to be a free kick. No, it's not. It's carry on, mate. I thought it was going to be a free kick down the edge, just for England, but it's not now. So, what were you saying?
But yeah, you can see they've changed certain rules of VAR. I think it's the offside decisions they've kind of changing now. So, I think VAR is there to help. I know, being an Arsenal supporter, I've been upset with VAR sometimes, but I think it does help in today's game.
And it's with O'Donnell now for Scotland, and he's going to play it down into midfield, and there's McGinn now. Out it goes to the left-hand side with Andy Robertson. I'm trying to see who it was. It's hard to see the numbers in that sometimes. It might have been Tierney or Robertson, but it's now O'Donnell anyway. I can see on this side, and it's now with Gilmore. And there's Tierney now. Tierney's going to have another opportunity to shoot a goal again, is he? No. Now it's Billy Gilmore. Now it's the number 4, Scott McTominay. Out to O'Donnell. Up against Luke Shaw. Back to McTominay now. And on it goes once more now to, I think that's Gilmore that time. And then on to O'Donnell. And O'Donnell playing it down the line as well. And it's now back with Gilmore once more though. And Scotland just playing it around, trying to get down the flanks really now. And it's with O'Donnell on this right flank once more. Now it's Che Adams. Going to get a shot at goal, and it's taking a deflection off of Tyrone Mings, who's punched the air there. I don't know whether that was a punch in the air about the tackle, whether he's so pleased with that tackle, or whether he's just frustrated at maybe the midfielders or the lack of support he was getting.
Yeah, but it's great play by Scotland there. I must admit, it's great patient build up, going side to side, stretching England, and great play by Scotland. Yeah, but it was either a tackle of happiness or frustration from Tyrone Mings there, but either way, I'll be happy to make that challenge.
That's Robertson with the corner, gets it back as well, and Robertson whips it in, looking for the back post, and it's Hanley, I think it was that time, and England have just been able to hook it clear anyway, and it's going to go out for, in fact, it doesn't go out of play, it's with Kieran Tierney now, and there is it's Kieran Tierney Andy Robertson, in possession that time. Now it's Scott McTominay into midfield with, I think that's McGinn.
They're dominating this last couple of minutes of this half, aren't they, Scotland?
They have been, the last few minutes, Scotland have really been dominating, and they haven't had many chances or clear-cut chances, as the half-time whistle has just been blown as well, so we don't get any additional time. The main chances really of that first half, Justin, are the effort from John Stones that was unfortunate to go off the post from an England point of view. And if you look at Scotland, their best chance was O'Donnell's, wasn't it? Which was saved by Jordan Pickford. So 2 opportunities there, one each for both sides. And No, it's been a very interesting game so far. With neither side really better than the other. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of an interesting game, as you say. I think it's been quite even, but both teams have had good ball possession of ball. England have dominated the ball possession more, I'd say, but in the early part of the game and the latter part of this half, Scotland have dominated. But yeah, I think it's kind of even at this moment of time with, John Stones hitting the post and Scotland there with the chance. I think what's his name, Stephen O'Donnell. With an opportunity, with a great save from Jordan Pickford. So I think it's kind of an even game so far, with not too many chances created, but it's an even game, and it sets us up for a good second half.
All right, and we'll bring you back to JB now, and JB will talk you through some halftime analysis with hopefully Russ alongside him as well, and me and Justin also having some thoughts on that first half and the game so far. But yeah, let's go back to JB in the studio, and we'll be back with the second half coverage in a short while. But at the break, England and Scotland is a 0-0 stalemate. So over to you, JB, and let's see that. Hopefully, we'll have some goals in the second half.
Thank you very much, Mike, and welcome back to the studio here. And my feed's still playing the first half, funnily enough. But currently it's 0-0, and hopefully we'll have Russ and Justin with us. Well, guys. Well, Scotland have given it as good as they got in this first half, haven't they, Justin? I have to say, Justin, with all the will in the world, England, I think, in comparison, have been poor. No shot on target in the first 45 minutes, really. And people are saying to me, we're going to win 4 or 5-1 tonight. Anything but, because Scotland have been fantastic. What have Scotland done to nullify the England attack and frustrate them in the first half?
I think they've just kept England, keeping the ball possession, and they've defended well. They've moved well side to side. Scotland haven't defended very well and really stopped the threat from England. They've stopped Foden, they've stopped Harry Kane, and they've stopped Sterling. They just need to be careful on the through balls there that the midfield runners are making. Sterling, Foden and Mount have been making. But other than that, I don't think there's been much threat from England. So in that sense, I feel you can say Scotland have done their homework and done their job so far. But England will be very disappointed that they haven't created more chances and put more pressure on the Scotland goal and defence. Yeah,
absolutely. And if Russ is there, well, a chance for John Stones, though. I mean, we hit the post early doors, and he had a chance from 6 yards out. Should have really scored, shouldn't he, Russ?
Yes, he should have done, JB. And good evening again to everybody. He really should have scored. He had when he headed against the post, and he should have scored from just close, not far out as well. England, from set plays, have looked dangerous. Scotland, like you said, JB, have had plenty of the possession and plenty of the chances, but England have defended well and caused quite a few problems when we've gone forward a few times. But we've not really seen much of Sterling much in that first half, and his touch at times has let him down. And I think it was a bit like he was against Croatia on Sunday as well. The touch let him down, and I think that's one of his big problems for Raheem Sterling. His final touch in the first half has been poor so far, and he was like that on Sunday as well. He's not learned from it, and he's not playing like he normally does for Manchester City.
Absolutely. I mean, there was the one shot on target, and it was a terrific shot from Stephen O'Donnell, guys. I mean, obviously, we'll bring Justin in a second on his views to reiterate his views. But what do you think? It's a good save from John Pickford. Now, Pickford gets a lot of criticism, mostly from me because I'm a Burnley fan, and I think Nick Pope should be playing. Because I think if he'd have not been injured, he would have been playing. But I would say that I'm biased. But I mean, seriously, guys, what a save from Pickford! Because if that goes in, England going at 1-0 down at half time and probably get booed off the field.
Yeah, I think if that would have gone in, England would have been the fans wouldn't have been happy at all. But it was a great save from Jordan Pickford. I know he gets a lot of criticism, but I feel he's done, a decent job whenever he's played and had to make saves for England. He's done what he's needed to. But yeah, for sure, England would have been very upset if that would have gone in. But a great save by Pickford. After some great play by Scotland.
Absolutely, Russ. Your views on that?
Yes, like Justin just said, JB, it was a fantastic save from Jordan Pickford. I thought he was going in at one stage. I thought he was going to nestle in that bottom corner, and like I said, JB, if he had done, England would have been 1-0 down on the break, and Scotland have been creating the better of the chances. I don't really recall David Marshall having to make a save in that first half, where I've seen Pickford make 2 or 3 really good saves, especially now from O'Donnell, which we've just touched upon. And a lot of the Scotland chances have come down this England's left there right through O'Donnell, and where he's cutting it back to Che Adams or having shots himself. That's the danger where he's coming back. And that one where Che Adams saw his shot lobbed by John Stones, I think if he'd have been on target, people would have had to make another save. And Robertson's had a few chances as well to supply crosses in, and Adams was unlucky on the follow up as well for when O'Donnell had his shot, which was saved. But if Adams were a bit further towards goal and had his come off the right part of his head, that could have been problems for England, and so I don't think people would have got back up from that O'Donnell save.
Absolutely, and certainly England guys are certainly under the cosh, that is for sure, and it really has been a poor performance. Mind you, we didn't play very well against the Croats, but we got through it. But Scotland, I mean, if you were Steve Clarke now, guys, I'll come to Justin first. I mean, if you were Steve Clarke right now, I think you'd be absolutely delighted with the way they've responded after what would have been a demoralising defeat. And in fair, in the first game against the Czechs, they played really well without really threatening too much in the final third. But tonight, I think if you were Steve Clarke, you would be absolutely thrilled the way Scotland have gone about it, the way they've applied themselves, the way they've gone about England and got themselves amongst them. And it's felt like a throwback to years gone by when this clash was an annual fixture, really. And really, Justin, I think if you were Steve Clarke now, you'd be absolutely, you'd be delighted. So, I mean, the team talk would be easy, wouldn't it? Same again?
Yeah, I think the first half performance, you would say Scotland have done really well. I think they've stuck to their task very well, limited to England to basically hardly any chances and created a good chance for themselves. So I think they've stuck to the task well. And if I was Steve Clarke, I would be very, very happy, but I would just make sure the players aren't complacent and, they've got a big second half ahead of them. And I'm sure they're going to come out again like they did in the first 5 minutes of the first half and be on the front foot. But no, I'd be very happy if I was Steve Clarke, that they've stopped England really, and obviously given England a good been about England and given them a few physical tackles in there to let them know that this is a game that it's not going to be easy and comfortable for England, which is part of Scotland's game plan to unsettle England, and I think they've done that.
Would you agree with that, Russ? Do you think Steve Clarke will be a much happier manager? And from an English point of view, actually, Russ, what do you think Gareth Southgate will have to say in the dressing room? Because he can't have been impressed with that first 45 minutes, the post being hit aside. That first half from England, to me, Russ, I don't know if you agree, and Justin can come in as well. I thought we were lethargic. We were off the pace. We just didn't look up for it at all. Where you can just see it in the body language of the two teams. But what would you be saying now if you were Gareth Southgate, Russ?
What I would say, JB, first and foremost, I'd be asking, where's the pace, where's the intensity that we played against Croatia with? We didn't play like this against Croatia. I'd be asking for the same intensity, same pace, same gung go as we did against Croatia in that first game, and cause quite a few problems for the Scotland back three, because at times Scotland back three have just picked up the ball and there's been no one on them. And also, I'll be saying, when we get the ball, make sure you run your man and make sure you try and take him on. And I think one thing I'd be saying to Sterling as well, and I'm not going to just stick him out here because he's not just been him who's been, I would say, average tonight. But what I would say to Sterling, one thing I'd say to Sterling is, when the ball comes to you, make sure you get your first touch right, because on a number of occasions in that first half tonight, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, Justin, his first touch hasn't been there, and he needs to sharpen up on his first touch, because if he was in Manchester City shirt a few times, a few of these touches would have been in, he would have got a few of them touches on point. Would you tend to agree with that, Justin?
Yeah, I agree with you there. He's for whatever reason, his touch has not been 100% tonight in the game so far. Hopefully, after this halftime break, he can, collect his thoughts and regroup and, get that touch back on point. You can see for City, his touch is always perfect. And I'm sure if it was Guardiola on the side, he'd be, you've seen him a few times yelling and shouting, but I'm sure Southgate would, have a quiet word with him and, make him refocus and sort his touch out. But I'm sure he'll come back stronger in the second half. And if not, you can see that I'm sure Gareth Southgate won't hesitate to bring in Grealish to change the dynamic of this game if Sterling isn't 100% performing to his best tonight.
Yeah,
yes,
quick one.
Just a quick one as well, JB, just before we go back downstairs. Is a quick question to Justin Knight as well. And Justin, I've seen in a few moments in that first half, and Mike, you can come in as well if you want as well. John McGinn has been giving a lot of mouth towards the officials, a lot of dissent towards the referee tonight for some of the issues that's not gone his way. And I can see John McGinn being sent off if he continues to go like he has. So I just want to ask you, Justin, what do you think Steve Clarke will be saying to John McGinn? He's on a booking already, and if he continues to mouth off for the official for some of these was not going his way, and see him potentially getting sent off, Steve Clarke will ask him to calm it down a bit and reel it in a little bit at the start of the second half.
Yeah, I think talking wise and mouth wise to the referee, if he cuts that out, that'll stop him. The referee's already booked him for that, so he's not going to want to carry on, continue that, and get the second yellow card and get the red. But you can see he's fired up. He's excited for this game. He's well up for it. But we hope he doesn't continue with the mouthing off to the referee and complaining, which would then turn into a second yellow card. But I'm sure he's well aware of the situation, and hopefully he turns that anger and frustration into his performance in playing like he's been doing, and tones it down a bit.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Russ. We'll hear from you at halftime. We're here for you on JB Sports and the commentary up till 10 o'clock tonight. Just a quick recap of the results earlier on. Russ covered Sweden 1, Slovakia 0. So Sweden get their first win in Group B rather. And earlier today with Nicholas Jones, Croatia and the Czech Republic drew 1-1. 0-0 here as the teams are about to enter the fray for the second half. So it's time to rejoin your two commentators, Justin Hoyt alongside Mike Harneman.
Thank you very much, JB, and great insight there from yourself and Russ, and of course Justin as well. The first ever meeting, in fact, between England and Scotland was back in 1872 on the 30th of October, and that game ended as a 0-0 draw as well. So it'll be interesting to see whether we get some goals in the second half or whether history repeats itself. Of course, the last meeting between the two sides was also a draw. Just a score draw on that occasion, with Lee Griffiths getting a brace for Scotland and Harry Kane scoring for England alongside Oxlade-Chamberlain scoring the other goal as well. So, there has been a fair amount of draws between these two sides, 25 in fact, with Scotland winning 41 times and England winning 48. So, the last game, of course, was the 2-2, as I mentioned, Justin, and hopefully we can get some goals in the second half, and hopefully they can come in England's favour as well, not to be biased towards any Scottish listeners.
Yeah, of course, we don't want to be too biased. But yeah, hopefully a goal or two will liven this game up a bit and bring some entertainment in this game. It's been a bit, possession-based game, but one goal in this game for either England and Scotland will try to change the dynamic of this game, and hopefully we'll get a goal early on, and we'll see a great second half.
And if you
But
look at the
hopefully it'll be England.
absolutely, if you look at the benches as well, you touched on Jack Grealish before. As England just have a chance here, Raheem Sterling to Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw tries to play it through to Mason Mount, and it's with Raheem Sterling. So I'll ask you that in a moment, in fact, but it's Raheem Sterling now, and it's back with Luke Shaw once more, and Raheem Sterling on to Luke Shaw now, and a chance here for England. And it's gone behind for a corner there off of Kieran Tierney, and as I was saying, Grealish is on the bench, Sancho is on the bench, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's on the bench as well. Who else is on the bench for England tonight? There's also Rashford there as well. So who would you look at first of all in terms of making a sub?
For me, I'm looking at Grealish. He will change the dynamic, I think, of this team. He's a great player, gets on the ball, creates chances. And then obviously Jadon Sancho, really dynamic player, gets on the ball, likes to run at the defenders. So I think you're looking at probably Grealish, the first substitution, maybe for Sterling in this half to change the dynamic of the attack of England.
And it's with John Stones. Now, of course, Jordan Henderson's on the bench, in fact, as well. And Jude Bellingham, another young talent, of course, who, in fact, the last time out, when he come on for England, is now the youngest ever player to play at a European Championships as well. So that's a big credit to him, going on from Birmingham to Dortmund, and then, obviously having that with England now as well.
Yeah, what a player he is. I've watched him closely at Dortmund. I didn't see much of him at Birmingham and saw that he was going to Dortmund. It was a great signing and a great move for him. He's learnt a lot being at Borussia Dortmund.
Chance here for Sterling to Kane. Back to Sterling once more and into Foden. A good defensive play there by Scotland. Just to get it clear, it might have been Robertson, in fact, who just got there. And it's now with Mason Mount. He's going to have a shot at goal. And Mason Mount, good effort there. And David Marshall parries that one wide of the goal. But just apologies about that, mate. You can carry on where you were at.
No, I was just saying, Bellingham, great player. When he's moved to Dortmund, he's grown in stature. You can see in the Champions League how well he performed. Way above his years and his playing ability, and you can see he's going to be a fantastic player if he continues to improve, and he'll be could be a regular England starter if he carries on performing the way he is for Borussia Dortmund, and I'm sure there won't be a few offers for him.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm sure. It'd be interesting to see whether he gets some moves to the Premier League at some stage, whether a big club like somebody with a bit of cash can, the likes of Chelsea, Man City can, take a fancy to him and put a big bid in maybe. And that was nothing come of that corner, by the way. Phil Foden won his head up, but just couldn't direct it on target there.
No, but it was great before by Mount. Great attacking, getting a little chance, a little eye for goal, and a great shot. Just to recap on and re-go over that, but it's a great opportunity for Mount there, finally getting a chance at goal.
That's right. Mason Mount did have that effort in the first half that was poked wide as well. When England have had a few chances, of course, Phil Foden had a chance, John Stones, Harry Kane as well. Some of them, you might class more of as half chances, I'd just say. But it's good that England have started brightly in the opening 4 minutes of this half, as they were trying to play the ball down the line towards Harry Kane there, and the ball was just too long for the England captain. But good start from Gareth Southgate's men there in the opening 4 minutes or so of this half.
Yeah, they've come out firing in the first half. They've put their front foot and their stamp on the game early on in the second half, whereas Scotland were more in the first half. But England look like they've come out stronger in the second half and really come out with emphasis on attacking and really going at Scotland this early on in the second half.
And Jack Grealish is actually lacing up his boots as well, so it probably won't be too long until the Aston Villa man enters the fray, and that'll be something different for Gareth Southgate to have in terms of a different option there as well. And Scotland are in possession here now, just with McTominay. I think that was trying to find Lyndon Dykes and well defended by Tyrone Mings. But the fact that Jack Grealish is lacing up his boots, he probably won't be that far away now from making an appearance.
No, I think he'll be the first substitution. I think it'll be sooner rather than later. He'll bring something completely different for England, a completely different dynamic, and I think he'll create some chances for England in there, and he'll be a great first substitution to make. And he'll be an exciting player to watch when he comes on the field.
And it's with Scotland now, and Hanley just knocks it back to Marshall, and I agree with that as well. I think Jack Grealish can offer you an awful lot going forward. Of course, you can win your set pieces, win your free kicks, potential penalties as well. And he's just a handful. When you got Jack Grealish running at you, it's something that not just Scotland, but any side really will have to be wary of.
Yeah, you can see why he's a wanted man. Also, really done well for Aston Villa. He's a really, really good player. Really
by Andy Robertson, just got his cross in all wrong though, and England were able to get it cleared by Declan Rice in the end. And yeah, Jack Grealish, a big player for Aston Villa, wasn't he? And as you say, is a wanted man, and potentially, I'm sure, could end up at a big club. I'm sure he will in the next few years. Although Aston Villa fans might not like me saying that.
No, they won't be happy saying that at all, because I'm sure they're going to want to keep him at the club forever. But he's going to want to play in the Champions League and at the highest level, and wanting to win trophies. So I can see him moving to a bigger club, one of the top 3 teams. I'm sure are going to be in for him, transfer window after transfer window until they can get him, because he's a great player, and he brings a lot to the team.
I think Manchester United are, in fact, have been looking at him as well, and I think that'd be a good move maybe for him to go to Man United, as England have possession here now with Calvin Phillips and Reece James in possession as well. Just knocks it on to Phil Foden and back to Reece James. And Jack Grealish should be quite a good fit for Man United, in my opinion. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah, I think he'd be a great fit for United. I mean, they played well last season, but I think he'd be a great addition to their team. Coming off the left wing there, I think he'd be a great addition to a talented young team they've got. With the likes of Rashford, Greenwood, Pogba in midfield. I think it'll be, and Fernandes is a great attacking force that they would have. I think Grealish would fit in any team.
Sorry, I was going to say Phil Foden whipped that one in there towards Raheem Sterling, but it's well defended by Scotland, and just England have got possession once more now. But yeah, Grealish, that was helping him as well, in my opinion. The fact that Greenwood and Rashford, he knows them from, he's been in England squads with them in the past. Luke Shaw as well, Harry Maguire. There's a few of them. Dean Henderson as well could be added to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of English players there in the United side, so that would help him settle in perfect. So, but I'm sure Man City and the Man City fans would have something to say about that, and they would want to, for sure, be chasing after Grealish, because I think he'd be a great addition for the Man City side, for especially the way they play.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'd be nice to have him in, any of those sides. Liverpool, maybe Chelsea. Arsenal, obviously you're an Arsenal fan. I'm an Arsenal fan as well.
I'd love for him to be Arsenal. Yeah, for sure.
I'd love that. That would be a great signing to have him alongside Smith Rowe and Saka. That'd be brilliant. Yeah,
it'd be great. Maybe we can push for that.
We'll see what we can do. It's with Tyrone Mings now on to Luke Shaw and into Raheem Sterling, and back with, I think that's Calvin Phillips now. And Mikel Arteta, if you somehow do manage to stumble over this one, Jack Grealish is our number 1 target, please.
yeah. Let's put it out there.
John Stones has it now with Tyrone Mings and Calvin Phillips. And there is Declan Rice, and here is Reece James now, and on to Mason Mount. Just drop back in a little bit there. Now Phil Foden. Phil Foden plays it in to Calvin Phillips and on to Luke Shaw. And Luke Shaw into Harry Kane that time. He's kind of had to come out wide as Harry Kane there. And on to Reece James. Reece James gets an effort at goal and not too far away as well. It was not too far away from testing David Marshall there. Just a little bit lower, and that would have been in the back of the net. But Harry Kane had to come out wide there, and almost got himself an assist. And good opportunity there for England. And Reece James, that was rising, but it wasn't too far away at the same time.
Yeah, good possession play by England, and you can see Harry Kane in the build-up to that, dropping a little bit deeper, dropping out wide because he's not getting the ball or as much surface as he'd like up top. So he's dropping a little bit deeper, dropping wider to get on the ball and try and create something different. And you can just see he's done that. And it was a great opportunity there for England.
And of course, Harry Kane, a lot of people might say that he's been quite ineffective in this tournament so far. The last game and the 55 minutes or so of this one. Just have, that would be interesting if Harry Kane was to go on and, have a fairly ineffective game, but then still maybe get a goal or an assist and be the difference. That's very much what he's like, isn't it?
Yeah, you can never count Harry Kane out. I mean, he could be quiet the whole game. He could pop up and then he'll pop up with an assist or a goal out of nothing. So you can never count Harry Kane out of this game. You've always got to keep an eye on him, and you can just see just there he's changed his position, moved about a bit, moved from the central space, moved out wide.
Lyndon Dykes, it's come Che Adams here now. Che Adams, good block there by John Stones, and I think Che Adams actually blocked Lyndon Dykes' effort there. So it was a good defensive block there from Che Adams there, and a little bit unfortunate if you're a Scottish fan who's watching on there, because it looked like that one might have been testing Jordan Pickford, and the two strikers got in each other's way a bit. Does England have a free kick here now? And it looks like Billy Gilmour is going to go in the book, is he, potentially here? I think the referee isn't going to give the book in here for this foul against Harry Kane, and he did pull him back though, but the referee isn't going to go to his back pocket or his pocket, I should say.
A tactical foul.
Yeah, I think it's a good tactical foul to make. Yeah, just having a look here now with this opportunity for England. It's good area to get a cross in. And it's Phil Foden over it with Mason Mount. And it looks like Mason Mount fancies getting this one in. And in fact, no, it's Phil Foden whips it in. And it's towards Raheem Sterling now, but good heading by Grant Hanley. Just heads it up into the air and, straight into the hands of David Marshall. And looks like he's just showing Jack Grealish once more warming up as well. And as I said before, he probably won't be that far now. I'm sure Gareth Southgate might even be looking as, maybe another 2 or 3 minutes, maybe making this first substitution for England and bringing on the Jack Grealish. Because obviously, it's been quite interesting 60 minutes or so far, or almost 60 minutes. But England are lacking a little bit of something.
Yeah, they're lacking a little bit of something. I think a bit more creativity. They're quite predictable at the moment. Bringing on someone like Grealish very, very soon will change, like I said, the whole attack of England and the way England will play and create something completely different. So I'm sure it won't be long before, I reckon the 60th minute or 65th minute before we see Grealish getting onto the field and getting his opportunity. And I'm sure he'll be more than excited to get on and wanting to get on the ball straight away and create chances for England.
Here's Raheem Sterling now for England. Hopefully looking to make something happen. He's given the ball to Phil Foden. Out it goes to Luke Shaw now. Luke Shaw whips it in. Phil Foden couldn't get on the end of it, but England have got it with Reece James still, and Raheem Sterling might be one of the men that Gareth Southgate would look at potentially bringing off. But here's Harry Kane. Now Harry Kane gets a shot at goal. Well blocked there by Grant Hanley. And Scotland, look, they're trying to counter as well down this left side with, I think that was the number 8, which is McGregor, sorry, and has given the ball away. But England are growing into this game in the start of the second half now. They've started, putting some real pressure on now. And hopefully it won't be too long until we get the opening goal of the game as well.
No, it looks that way. England seem like they're knocking on the door, getting in them spaces, getting them more eye for goal, and I'm sure it won't be long before we see the opening goal. At the moment, it looks like England might get that, but as football, anything can change.
As Phil Foden
like
to Reece James to Tyrone Mings, and on to Mason Mount. And Mason Mount's into the box here now. Mason Mount wins a corner as well off of the Manchester United man, Scott McTominay, as we are entering the 60th minute of the game. And just on cue is Jack Grealish getting himself ready as well. So as we both kind of said, it looks like Jack Grealish is going to enter in the 60th minute as the first substitution as well. It's a corner whipped in though. And chance there, Tyrone Mings, was he fouled there? Referee says no, he wasn't. It did look like there was Scotland player all over him though. But they're on the break now with the number 2, Stephen O'Donnell again. And that's well defended by Luke Shaw, who just sees it back to Jordan Pickford, who whacks it forward, looking to Raheem Sterling. And Raheem Sterling's up against Scott McTominay now. Raheem Sterling's into the box. Going to look for Phil Foden, and good defending there by Kieran Tierney, I believe that was. And he's brought the ball out as well now, as Lyndon Dykes is down for Scotland, but he's back to his feet now anyhow. Just down for a second there, and Kieran Tierney has the ball and just playing a 1-2. In fact, it's Andy Robertson, I should say, not Kieran Tierney. Now McGregor, and now McGinn as well. And McGinn back from Roberts. Sorry, not McGinn. It's Gilmore. Sorry, I should say. I'm getting all the names wrong tonight.
No, it's all good.
It's Scott McTominay, anyhow. Now it's John McGinn. Now out to this right-hand side to O'Donnell, whipped in towards Lyndon Dykes, and Tyrone Mings gets ahead on that one to see it behind for a corner. And I think the reason I'm getting all the names wrong is because Scotland players, they like to interchange, don't they? They kind of, don't really have a set position.
No, they don't, especially Andrew Robinson and Kieran Tierney. They seem like they can change at any point of the game. One of them's playing central, left of the back three, then left wing back, and they keep interchanging. But that just shows their flexibility and the way that the both of them two can adapt. It's a good way to unsettle the defense.
Corner whipped in, and it's a header by. Also, an effort there by Lyndon Dykes, and off the line by Tyrone Mings from underneath the crossbar as well. And great opportunity there for Scotland. They won the header. Lyndon Dykes was the man that followed up with the rebound, and Tyrone Mings had to be alert there on the line, and luckily for England, he was. There's a free kick to Scotland there for offside as well, and that was a fantastic effort there. It was Grant Hanley and then Lyndon Dykes. It was actually Reece James on the line, sorry, not Tyrone Mings. Tyrone Mings was just in front of him. It was Reece James that got his head to the ball when Steve Clark was jumping for joy. He thought that one was in the back of the net, and they weren't far, were they?
No, they weren't far at all. I actually thought it was in as well. It was a great defensive header by Reece James, and right place at the right time. And if he wasn't there, that would have been 1-0 Scotland and would have completely changed the dynamic of this game. And Scotland fans would have been jumping.
Absolutely. The substitution's just been made. Phil Foden has been withdrawn, and it is Jack Grealish that has come on in his place. And Phil Foden has been, he's had an okay game, but not to his normal standards today, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's been okay. I think Andrew Robinson and Kieran Tierney have dealt with him very, very well. Basically stopped everything he wanted to do, and I think they've kind of doubled up on him and defended against him very well when he's not been the player he wanted to tonight. But credit to Scotland and the way they've defended and dealt with him, really. But bringing on Grealish now will bring a completely different dynamic to the English attack and the way England will play now. Scotland
have grown in confidence as well. They know that they've defended when they've needed to, and they've now got on the attack as well. They've had that opportunity just now. They had the opportunity through Stephen O'Donnell as well. So they are causing England a few issues. And Jordan Pickford, isn't happy there with the defence as well. He's just barking out some instructions and some orders to his back line just to kind of focus and stay switched on.
Yeah, they need to. England need to. You can see Scotland are growing in confidence. They're not shy, and they're not scared of England at all. They're coming at England. They're not going to give up, and they're going to keep on going until they get the opportunity and chance they wanted and they want. So Scotland will keep on pushing and trying to get that goal no matter what the situational scoreline is. And Scotland are doing very well, pressing very, very well at the moment.
It's with Luke Shaw now for England, and on to Jack Grealish. And looked like he was being double marked there. He's got two men around him, and that's not a bad thing for Scotland to do, is it? When you've got Jack Grealish, maybe double marking him is actually the way forward.
Yeah, I think Grealish is going to have to get used to that. I think that's going to happen to him a lot nowadays because people and teams are used to, his ability and have been watching videos of him. So I'm sure he's going to get two players in them at all times, and I think that's what Scotland are going to look to do every time he's on the ball.
Here's Raheem Sterling now from Grealish's pass, and Sterling onto Phillips, and Phillips onto is that Grealish again? Grealish now has won the corner for England, and it's just good opportunity there for John Stones and Tyrone Mings to come up from the back again. Of course, John Stones came close with the header off the post in the first half, which is England's best chance of the game so far. And Scotland have had one off the line themselves, and also a effort from O'Donnell that was saved very well down low by Jordan Pickford. But England have this corner now and whips in towards Declan Rice by Grealish and gone behind. In fact, no, it hasn't gone out of play. It's I think it wasn't Grealish. I think this might be Grealish now. I'm not too sure he even took the delivery, in fact. But now it's with Tyrone Mings anyhow. And now England have possession with John Stones. And now Calvin Phillips. And it's now...
You can see already the impact Grealish has had already.
Grealish fouled again there as well, yeah.
You can see the impact he's had already coming into this game already, how more involved he has been than Foden. So you can see the threat he's going to pose on this team and create chances for England for sure.
I think it was Mason Mount with a corner beforehand, possibly. And there's a free kick here for England now, and it looks like Grealish is getting himself into a position for maybe a rebound as well, just on the edge of the box or so. But it's going to be whipped in from the left side. Luke Shaw is over it, and also another man as well. Looks like Luke Shaw takes it though, and he does. Looking towards Tyrone Mings, and Tyrone Mings keeps hold of the ball here up against Lyndon Dykes, who dropped back to defend. And now it's Calvin Phillips and on to Jack Grealish. And Grealish now out to Raheem Sterling, and Sterling is just going to take a few touches, then play it to Calvin Phillips. You're going to look in towards Tyrone Mings, and good defending there from Scotland. And Reece James has possession now and just knocks it back to the goalkeeper Pickford. As we are entering the 68th minute almost of this game, and still awaiting that first goal. But good ball through to Harry Kane though, from England, and almost onto Jack Grealish there. And Scotland, defending well again, and good opportunity there for Harry Kane, wasn't it, Justin? As England have possession there, just Tyrone Mings whacks it forward, and it's looks like a free kick here against the Scottish man on Calvin Phillips. And I was just saying, Justin, just a moment ago, Harry Kane was almost on the end of that one for England, wasn't he?
Yeah, sorry, my stream was maybe a minute behind there on that one, so I'll probably catch up in a second. But yeah, it was a great opportunity, a great running behind by Harry Kane, and a good opportunity there for him.
And Jack Grealish has just lost possession there, and it's now with Andy Robertson for Scotland. Andy Robertson plays it to O'Donnell, and O'Donnell just knocks it back to Scott McTominay, who's going to play it in to midfielders. In fact, he goes and uses the number 8, and that was McGregor, and then it's now with Robertson and Hanley, and McTominay getting the ball there from Gilmore as well, and then just knocking it onto O'Donnell, the right back, who's going to go back to the goalkeeper Marshall. And Scotland just trying to build from the back now, with about 21 minutes to go of this Group D game between England and Scotland, of course, the second game for both nations. England winning the first by 1-0 against Croatia, and Scotland getting beaten 2-0 in their opener by Czech Republic. And here's Andy Robertson onto Kieran Tierney now, and Tierney in to McGregor and Billy Gilmore there as well. Here is Robertson once more. Now it's with Gilmore, and Gilmore just plays it to Hanley, and Hanley on to McGregor, and McGregor back to... sorry, that's Hanley that time. In fact, it was... I couldn't see who it was. It might have been one of the other men there for Scotland. But anyway, it's towards Lyndon Dykes that time, and it's gone behind for what is a goal kick, and it looks like Scotland are getting a sub ready themselves as well. And Steve Clarke's going to his bench for the first time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if Scotland are going to change things, maybe in attack or in midfield, maybe to try and push for a goal. After seeing England making a change, bringing on Grealish, it'll be interesting to see who they now bring on and see what they do with their tactical play.
And it's with Scott McTominay now and out into midfield, where John McGinn knocks it back to McTominay once more. And now Billy Gilmour and then McTominay plays it in to Che Adams and gets it back from Gilmour and Adams. And Gilmour just playing a 1-2 there with another man involved as well, who I think might have been O'Donnell possibly. And it's now with Kieran Tierney. There's a bit of a match there between, I think it was Robertson and Sterling. There's a bit of a holding match there, but the referee and the officials just said it was okay to continue as Scotland had possession, and there was nothing really in that one as England have the ball here now with Tyrone Mings, and now it's with Calvin Phillips. And on to Declan Rice, and Declan Rice plays the ball to Harry Kane, on to Jack Grealish now, on to Raheem Sterling, who has been flagged offside, and Raheem Sterling, 71 minutes or so, he's still yet to come into this game, isn't he, Raheem Sterling? He's trying, but so far, maybe it might be time for a Jadon Sancho maybe to replace him.
Yeah, he's been really quiet. For Sterling standards, very, very quiet. I'm probably disappointed with his performance, but I think it's time maybe for a change. Bring on some fresh legs. Bring on Jadon Sancho.
In fact, England are getting a sub ready, and it is Marcus Rashford who's coming on, in fact, rather than Jadon Sancho. Rashford
Do you think that could be for Sterling, maybe?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. It wouldn't surprise me if it was.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Yeah.
Not been very effective today. So he'll be disappointed. If it is him, he'll be with his performance, but you must understand, Southgate's decision on why he would be bringing on Rashford now.
I think if you look at Harry Kane's been fairly ineffective as well, though, so it could potentially put him through the middle. Depends what he wants to do, really, the England manager, because, either of those two are very valid options to take off because they haven't been great compared to their usual standards. Yeah,
to their usual standards, as you'd say, they'd be very, very, very quiet. But then at the same time, that's credit to the Scotland defence. I think they've dealt with Rashford, Sterling, Harry Kane and Foden well. So it'd be interesting to see how Rashford fits into this team when he comes on and who he replaces.
That's Jack Grealish now for England, and he's going to go back, is he, to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw gets it back from Mason Mount. Luke Shaw into the box. Luke Shaw fires it wide of the goal there, and good opportunity there down the left-hand side for England. And Luke Shaw there just got his effort all wrong, really, but good play there from England. Mason Mount involved. Jack Grealish involved as well. And Luke Shaw just toe pokes it, really, and ends up going wide of David Marshall's goal. And actually, it looked like O'Donnell got a touch on it as well to take it maybe away from Luke Shaw and kind of put him off a little bit before he had his effort. So great defending, in fact.
Looks like England are attacking more down the left-hand side since the introduction of Grealish here. Whereas in the first half, they was attacking more down the right-hand side. Looks like they've gone more down the left-hand side. It was great play by Luke Shaw there.
And there's no goal for the captain, Harry Kane. He's been substituted. He's the man that's made way for Marcus Rashford. So Raheem Sterling is still continuing on for the time being, although England still have the opportunity to make another further 3 subs if they want to as well. And it's with Declan Rice now. And, as I said, it could have easily been Harry Kane or Raheem Sterling that was the man to make way, And taking off Harry Kane, no surprise, really, the way that he's played today. He's been very ineffective.
Yeah, by Kane's standards, he's been very ineffective. I mean, he had a chance in the second half of an assist, but he's been very, very quiet. He's not had much of the ball, to be honest, in the position he wanted to. He's not had many sights on goal. So a change of dynamic here with Rashford coming in a bit of pace and a different style of play to Harry Kane. So hopefully for England's England's sake, that Rashford gets a few more opportunities and a few more chances in front of goal.
And there's an opportunity there for Scotland. Whacked forward by Marshall and ended up by Che Adams, I think it was, who knocks it out of play. And as Marcus Rashford entered the fray there, they panned in on David Beckham first of all, and then Sir Alex Ferguson there, who, one watching from an England point of view, one from a Scottish point of view, of course, as well. And both of them will know Marcus Rashford very well.
Yeah, they will. I think Alex Ferguson seen his development, and obviously David Beckham also. To be very proud that he's come on, and hope, and all the Man United supporters, and obviously Sir Alex and David Beckham will be hoping that Rashford comes on and produces the goods for England.
And Scotland are making that substitution now. Billy Gilmour is the man to make way. And he's been replaced by Southampton's Stuart Armstrong, who's come on in his place. So that's a little bit more attacking, is it, from Scotland? I think they're taking off a defensive midfielder, and then Armstrong's a bit more of a attacking sort of midfielder. He can play a bit further forward, I think, can't he?
Yeah, I think he can. I think they're going to maybe try and push for a goal, maybe even try and win this one. I think maybe that's what they've gone for. Gone for a bit more of an attacking player rather than being another defensive player. I think they're kind of happy with how they've been defending, so maybe now they're trying to push for a goal in this game now.
And it's with Tyrone Mings, and he's had to go back to Jordan Pickford, and that's a bold move from Scotland, because obviously if they go for it and really get caught out on the counter attack, then they've lost the 2 points there. So maybe keeping Billy Gilmour on wouldn't have been such a bad idea. And of course, John McGinn's on a yellow as well. So, if he gets himself sent off, then they've got to contend with that as well. But there's a chance here for Scotland now, and it is coming down this right flank with Che Adams, I think it is. Now it's Armstrong. And it's seen back by Calvin Phillips to Jordan Pickford there. And here's Declan Rice. And Scotland are really trying to cause England some problems now. Here is Andy Robertson towards Lyndon Dykes. There's a chance there for Che Adams, and not far away. He just kind of miscued that one, really did, Che Adams, and the ball ended up going well wide. But it was good play again from Scotland, and they're creating the opportunities now. And Steve Clarke, he's got to be very pleased with how they performed in this game.
I think he's very happy with the way they've performed. They've not given England any chances, but at the same time they're creating a few chances of their own, and they've attacked well and defended well. So by Scotland standards, they've done very, very well. I'm sure up to now they'll be very happy with their performance. And
there's a chance here for Raheem Sterling for England. Raheem Sterling up against the Scottish man there, McTominay, I think it is, and Raheem Sterling is sort of dancing around him, Jesse Lingard style. And is that a penalty kick? Let's have a look here. Raheem Sterling's gone down in the box. He's complaining about something against Andy Robertson there. Let's have a look at this one from another angle. He did stand on his foot there, did Andy Robertson. The referee isn't giving the penalty as things stand. I'm sure it will get looked at with VAR, but that's a risky one from Andy Robertson. And Raheem Sterling's gone down there. And we will have to go to VAR probably to look at this one, but it's probably the biggest talking point really of the second half.
I'm just catching up now with that one. Now I'm looking at it again here, but yeah, it's a big talking point. This one for sure. It's the first time Sterling's actually faced up his man there, his defender, and actually got a chance to run at him. This Sterling's dangerous, and this is always what he's wanted throughout the game, and this is the opportunity he's wanted. So it'd be interesting to see what they say. I mean, he did step on his foot there. It's similar to what happened in the Netherlands game. We'll soon see what decision is with the
referee said no penalty was given, and it's with Scotland now. And Andy Robertson whips it in there, and it's gone off of the England man and into the gloves of Jordan Pickford. So I don't even think they actually looked at that with VAR in the end. And they could have done, in my opinion, because as I said, it did look like he stood on his foot there. But it probably would have been soft to give that, really.
Yeah, it would have been soft to give that, and if I was a Scottish Scotland player or a Scotland fan, I would have been very disappointed if they would have given that against Tierney there. But that's what Sterling's wanted the whole game, and he's finally got that. So let's hope that for all the England fans and him himself gets that opportunity again, because that's what he's been looking for.
It's gone behind for a Scotland throw-in, trying to get Marcus Rashford down the line. But it come off of him, and it's now Andy Robertson to take this throw-in. We've got around about 10 minutes left of the 90. So, Justin, I'll have to push you to get your thinking caps on for potential man of the match candidates as well, mate, whenever you can start thinking about that.
Oof, this is a tough one in this game. I'm going to have to wait till the next couple of minutes, I think, just in case we see a goal.
There's a chance here from Marcus Rashford, and it's good defending there from Grant Hanley of Scotland. And he should be in, your thoughts, in my opinion. He's done very well so far. Here's Armstrong now. Is that a foul there? The referee says no on Che Adams, and now it's with McGregor. There's a shot at goal there by, I think that might have been Kieran. No, it wasn't. It was actually McGinn, sorry. And it's taken a deflection and gone behind for a Scotland corner. And actually, there's a lot of Scottish players that would be in the reckoning for man of the match. Well, they've done very, very well, especially maybe some of the defenders and potential midfielders, etc., for them as well. When even the likes of Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams up front for the way they've led the line.
Yeah, I wonder if I can give it to the whole team. We'll see how this game ends up.
We've still got this 8.5 minutes to go, sorry, I should say. So still time for something to happen, and I'm sure that there should be some chances as well, as it looks like this corner is going to be whipped in by Armstrong and headed up away by Tyrone Mings there towards Jack Grealish, and he's going to get a chance there to have to go back, and Jack Grealish plays it to Jordan Pickford, who just hooks it long. And I wonder if Gareth Southgate will look at his bench, or Steve Clarke for that matter as well, again in the next few moments. It's now with Reece James, and now Calvin Phillips switches the play to Luke Shaw, who heads it on to Declan Rice, and Declan Rice is going to take a few touches and bring it into midfield. But he finds Reece James. And Reece James is back to Declan Rice once more. And he's going to have to go back, is he now? Yes, he is, to John Stones. And there's Declan Rice again. And here's Reece James now on to Raheem Sterling. And free kick there. No, in fact, the referee says play advantage. In fact, there's going to be a free kick against Sterling. So now it is Stuart Armstrong for Scotland. And he plays it into midfield where Andy Robertson is in possession. And Scott McTominay now gets the ball from him. And now it's with McGinn. And now Kieran Tierney plays it out to Armstrong once more. And then into midfield where Armstrong gets it back. And now it's with Kieran Tierney again. And Justin, if you look at the bench, from an England point of view and a Scotland point of view, if you want to as well, where can this game still be won in the sort of final 6, maybe 7 minutes plus stoppage time?
I think you have to bring on an attacking player. I think if you're England, if you want to win this game, but I think personally, I think England may be happy with the draw after winning the first game. I think they'll be happy with the draw, but I still think Scotland are going to still try and win this one. But I think England will be more happy with the draw. But I think as this maybe in the latter stages of this game, which it is, maybe are we going to see Sancho or someone like that just to bring on for the last couple minutes of this game?
I think Scotland are getting a substitution ready.
They are, yeah.
At the moment. Yeah, I just have to confirm who that is coming on. But I wonder whether they're going to go attacking and bring on a forward, or whether they'll go a bit more cautious and maybe bring on another centre back now. Yeah,
just to see this one out, to take the point. Maybe we'll see. But I think England will be happy. I'm not happy with their performance, but as long as they don't lose, they'll be happy with the point. For them in this group, I think a point will do them well.
There's a free kick there on O'Donnell by Tyrone Mings, and looks like he's got away without going into the book as well. But it's another opportunity for Scotland And the substitution is going to be made now. It looks like the number 19, Nisbet is coming on, sorry, I should say.
Nisbet, yeah.
And Nisbet is going to come on to replace Che Adams, who, as I touched on just a moment ago, has had a very good game. In fact, he's led the line very well. You know, he's not got himself a goal, but he's been a very much a team player. So, you know, throughout this game, so you know, could certainly be one that's in your mind for potential man of the match, maybe.
Yeah, he is. He's been all over. He's worked very well, led the line, and caused England a lot of problems. He's been non-stop in this game, which is what you want, and the sort of performance. He should be proud of his performance. He's not got the goal he wanted, but he should be proud of his team performance.
Let's say corner hit. A free kick here for Scotland to be whipped in by O'Donnell, but only as far as Jordan Pickford, who just claims that and takes the ball to the edge of his box and then just throws it down to Tyrone Mings, who knocks it onto Calvin Phillips now. And out it goes to Luke Shaw. And into Calvin Phillips once more now. And it's now with Tyrone Mings and just on to Luke Shaw. Now, of course, we touched on earlier the fact that you played for England as well at schoolboy level, and then you switched allegiance to play with Trinidad and Tobago as well. So, you know, what were the kind of deciding factors in that? Was there, what were the main reasons behind that?
The main reason for me, really, because I was, to be honest, Trinidad and Tobago asked me while I was playing for an England youth level the year they got into the World Cup, but I turned it down because I said it wasn't fair that the players that got Trinidad players that got them to that final, for me just to come in there all of a sudden, and also I was on the talking point of being in the England fold. It never panned out and never worked out, but I said it wasn't fair for me just to come in during that time. So but then they come calling again, and I jumped at the opportunity. I wasn't in the England fold, wasn't looking like I was gonna, and I wanted to play international football, test myself against the top players internationally, and it was a great decision. I was happy that they called me, and I made nearly 16 caps and got to travel the world, play at World Cup qualifications, and really enjoyed my time playing for the national team. And it's a real good eye-opener, and you're playing against the best in the world, so how could you not want to do that?
Absolutely. And just whilst we were talking there, Stephen O'Donnell went into the book for Scotland, and as a fullback yourself, he's probably in your thoughts for man of the match as well. He's been very bright for Scotland today.
Very, very bright. I wish I could give it to the whole Scotland team for their performance, I'll be honest. I think they've played very, very well up until now, and if England were to score, they'd be very disappointing for Scotland's performance. But if Scotland hold out here or they get the victory, I think it'll be well deserved. And so far, Scotland defense can take their hats off and pat themselves on the back for the way they've defended throughout this game. But Stephen O'Donnell, definitely one of my candidates for man of the match.
And you can hear the Scotland fans, you can see them in full voice as well right now. It's them that are the happy of the two sides, and rightly so, really, in my opinion. As Lyndon Dykes is in here as well now for them. Potentially they could even nick a winner, but there's an offside flag there. But so not on that occasion. So we've got, about a minute and a half. So have you come to a final decision for your man of the match as of yet?
No, it has to be out of, I'd say one of the defenders for, I don't know if I'm being biased here, but I'd say Kieran Tierney or Stephen Donaghy. I think they've both played well. So I think it's out of this one. But I actually like, is it John McGinn?
Yeah, the midfielder.
I think he's been fantastic. So I'm going to have to give it to him just for the way he's been. He got a booking early on, but I think he's been fantastic in the midfield. I'm not sure if you agree with me, but I
was just going to say, you've seen quite a lot of passion from him as well. And actually in that second half, I don't know what was said to him by Steve Clarke, but he's certainly been very, calm and composed. And, the passion's come through the right way in the second half, rather than, him doing anything stupid or anything silly. So, yeah, he's had a very good game. I'd have actually given it to O'Donnell myself. I thought he was fantastic down the right side for Scotland. I think so far, obviously we've still got the injury time as well to go, but he had the main chance for Scotland, and everything seemed to be coming down that side. So I'd have probably given it to him myself, but can't argue with you.
Change if you want. If you want, we can change. I don't mind. I said both. I said both.
You're the co-commentator. Absolutely, mate. You're the co-commentator in the X-Pro, so I can't argue with you. So we'll give it to John McGinn for today's game. Honourable mention.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a chance here for Jack Grealish and given to Marcus Rashford, but given away there as we enter stoppage time. We still don't know how much it's going to be. It's Declan Rice now on to Reece James, and Reece James into the area. There's a chance here for England. There's bodies everywhere. Wow, what's happened here now? The referee's given a handball against Declan Rice there. And literally everyone was just falling on the ball there for Scotland. I think it was, you defend, I defend, we'll all defend as a team, and they defended very well there from that moment. And it was good play from England, and Declan Rice, Raheem Sterling, they couldn't kind of get the feet to get the ball to direct it a goal between them. And there was, I think, 4, maybe even 5 Scottish men there. Lyndon Dykes was back there helping out with Scott McTominay and 2 or 3 others as well. The goalkeeper there, who just kind of jumped on the ball and then missed the ball. And then it was all a little bit of a, melee, really. But, yeah, Scotland managed to stay firm and keep the ball out of the net somehow.
Yeah, it was. It was a little bit of a chaotic moment there in the Scotland box. But they got it cleared, and a little bit of entertainment to end towards the end of the second half, and you can see a lot of the Scotland players trying to calm each other's nerves and pat each other on the back for that moment. At least they got the ball clear, and I think for England it didn't fall to one of their players.
Last chance probably for England. Jack Grealish now gives the ball to Reece James, I think that was. No, was it Rashford? But anyway, it's with Grealish now. Got about 10 seconds remaining. It's with Jack Grealish from Reece James. Jack Grealish, is he going to get a chance here to have a shot at goal, is he? Grealish once more now. Dancing around the Scottish back line. There's a chance here now. Reece James, no, and it's tidied up by the Scottish defence. And that is it. That is full time. It's a stalemate between England and Scotland. Gareth Southgate and Steve Clarke, both defenders by trade themselves as well, have got both of their sides defending for their lives today. Scotland in particular, I'll be very pleased and very proud of that performance. England have a lot to do going into the next game against Czech Republic. They've got to be better. Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane as well. But yeah, what do you make of that as a whole, Josh? And it's been an interesting game of football, and Scotland, come to Wembley and go away with a valuable and deserved point.
Yeah, I think Scotland was very happy with their performance and the way they played. They defended well and created 1 or 2 chances that troubled England, but didn't trouble England. So I think the Scotland players and Steve Clarke and the Scotland fans will be happy with their performance tonight. They didn't get the victory, but I think they'll go away with this one feeling very, very happy. And you can see the fans jumping up and cheering with that result. And I think that's a huge result for Scotland.
Absolutely. Of course, they lost the first game as well, and they've come back and bounced back really well there in effectively what was an away game as well at Wembley Stadium there in front of the England fans, and with England on home soil, when they've come and done a job on England really. They're defended very, very well. And it's ended as it did in the first ever meeting between the two sides back in 1872, I believe, as a stalemate, a 0-0 scoreline. So back over to JB in the studio. And JB, sorry, mate, but I said it. I said it before the stream, before we actually hit live, that we're building it all up and it will probably end up 0-0. And what happened, mate? It ended up as a 0-0 draw.
You called it.
Well, there we go. But I just want to have a little rant for a minute or two. I'll bring Russ and Justin in a minute. We're with you till 10 o'clock tonight, folks. Thank you, Mike. And Justin, great commentary as always. But England, what an absolute disgrace of a performance. I've never seen an England side against Scotland. You have to be up for the fight. The Scottish fans and the Scottish players were superb to a man. England were not even that. They were lethargic. They were poor. Harry Kane had a pathetic game. And to be quite honest, Scotland deserve all the plaudits tonight. And Gareth Southgate, get rid of that. Get your three-piece suit back on. Get your waistcoat back on. because it's not doing you any luck, the casual look. Get back to the suit and tie and a waistcoat, because that, I'm afraid to say, from an England performance, that was shocking. Yes, we may have gone on to 4 points, but that performance today was unacceptable, and really, it was an absolute load of rubbish. But let's just give praise to the Scots. Should have won the game, but I'll tell you what, Steve Clarke will be a happy man, and if they can beat Croatia next week, boy, they've got a chance of qualifying for the knockout stages in a major competition for the first time ever. But for England, plenty of soul searching to do, and I think Gareth Southgate has got to look at players like Sterling, Kane, Mings, all of them poor. Just not good enough. Absolute load of rubbish. Well, anyway, that's my opinion. John McGinn was the man of the match, of course, sponsored by Commentary Services. And I think I have to agree with you there, Justin. I think he was a bit of a worthy man in the match, although I would give an honourable mention, as Mike said, to Stephen O'Donnell.
Yeah, I think Stephen O'Donnell was fantastic. I even said in the commentary, it was out of him and McGinn, and I wish I could have given it to more of the players. Maybe we can the man in the match decision. But no, credit to Scotland. I think they stuck to their game plan. They played really well, and as an England fan and England supporters, and I think England on the whole, Southgate and the team, I think they'll be very, very disappointed with that performance. And you
absolutely. Well,
something wasn't right. Something just didn't click.
No,
it wasn't right. Maybe they wasn't up for it, but Scotland showed a bit more passion and a bit more fight, and I think that showed in the performance.
I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Russ, England were a fat lot of good tonight, weren't they?
I know, JB, and I want to just take a pop at Gareth Southgate. Why did he take Phil Foden off tonight? Foden, out of him and Sterling, was the best winger, creative outlet we had against Scotland tonight. Foden, every time he got the ball, trying to take on Andy Robertson, trying to get down that wing, trying to create something for England. Sterling, what did he do? Nothing. End product, very, very poor. First touch, very, very poor. And Sterling, for me, shouldn't be in this England team against
I agree.
Against in the midweek on Tuesday night. He should not be in this team against Czech Republic. I start Foden and Grealish. And another thing, I don't get why he changed both fullbacks tonight, because if we had Trippier on the left and Walker on the right, England would have probably gone on and won that game tonight.
Absolutely, Russ. I mean, Southgate, of course, we're giving opinions. I mean, Justy's described, he spoke to more about the positive side of the Scottish performance. We're obviously passionate Englishmen, and we're all passionate Englishmen, believe it or believe it not. But I agree with you. Why did he have to make the changes he made? Now, this reminds me of Euro 2016, guys, when we played the third game against Slovakia, was it? And Roy Hodgson, the manager, then made 6 changes. Now, wouldn't you think, Justin, that having one on Saturday, one on Sunday, and one pretty comfortably against the Croats, wouldn't you think Gareth would have just kept the side as it was? Because at the end of the day, there's an old phrase, isn't there? It isn't broke, you don't fix it.
Yeah, and I think I said that after the last game before. I don't think he will change the team, or I wouldn't change the team, just because you lose that consistency and the performance. You take away from the performance, you bring in some fresh legs, but you lose that consistency, and players start to get the understanding of playing with each other after the first game. You're losing that momentum. So I think he will look back at that and say, maybe did I make a mistake? But I understand why he's gone for that decision. But for me, you have to stick with a winning team. As you say, if it's not broken, there's no need to fix it. But it's disappointing. As an England supporter, it's very disappointing. And I'm sure the players will be disappointed with their performance, 100%. But he should have kept the team the same, though, I think.
Absolutely.
I've just seen 2 comments in here as well, JB, this evening. First one is from our good friend and fellow commentator Nicholas Jones. He says, JB's rant made me laugh. Great, and he also says great commentary from Mike and Justin tonight as well. And JB, yours and Mike's good friend Chris Wyman, he's put out taking foot off for Grealish was baffling. He was the only one prior to the sub actually trying to create something which I alluded to in my first point. He's also going to say all the players were looking at one another for looking for someone to take the game by the scruff of the neck, and no one stepped up. And I've got to agree there with Chris Wyman, aka CW, as well.
Absolutely, I'm in concurrence with everybody. I think it's. I mean, I'm lost for words. I honestly thought England had a good chance. I actually predicted 3-1. I said that off air. I didn't give any predictions on air because I didn't want to jinx it for anyone tonight. But the England side, guys. Well, before we wrap up, let's have a final thought now. I mean, Scotland. Let's finish with Scotland. We've touched enough on England. We know how pathetic they were tonight and how lethargic, now disjointed they were. And you've had your rant, I've had my rant, Russ. And thank you, Nicholas, as well, and Chris for the comments. By the way, so thank you for doing both. And of course, keep your comments coming in throughout the tournament. Yeah, at the Commentary Hub and on JB Sports and Periscope and Twitter and Twitch and whatever platform you're listening to us on. It's nice to all have you with us. We've got about 3 or 4 minutes of the broadcast left, guys. Final thoughts on Scotland now. They've got. We'll start with Justin first. They've got, and then Russ. What do you think now? I mean, Steve Clarke, of course, will be pleased as punch. Obviously, Justin. They've got Croatia coming up on Tuesday night up at Hampden. The Scotland fans will be right behind them. They actually played well in the first game. Let's not forget they played very well in the first game without troubling the scorers. They've got a point here. They'll take confidence from that, you'd think. And can they beat Croatia on Tuesday night? Well, if they play like they did tonight, you'd have to say they've got every chance of maybe getting through in the knockout round for the first time ever.
Yeah, I think if they play as well as they did tonight, I think they stand a good chance. I mean, Croatia looked okay. They don't look amazing, but they look a beatable side. And I think if Scotland play anything like they did tonight against England, I think they could come away with a victory. And obviously, it's a home game for Scotland, so the fans will be right behind them. And I think they could get the victory, and they look like they could advance to the next round if they get that victory.
Absolutely. Before I ask Russ the same question, let's bring our match commentator, Mike. Hello, Mike. Well, what do you reckon? I mean, England were a fat lot of good tonight, weren't they? But let's talk about Scotland. I mean, to a man, they were superb, and you were advocating for Stephen O'Donnell, wouldn't you, to be man of the match?
Absolutely. I thought Stephen O'Donnell was excellent. I thought everything that was good for Scotland was coming down that right-hand side. I thought, obviously he had the chance in the first half. He created a chance for Che Adams as well. Defended really, really well in everything he needed to do. And, there's a number of Scottish men that you could have looked at there. I thought Hanley, Tierney, Robertson, McGinn, even the likes of Adams and Dykes as well. They didn't get a goal, but they led the line very well. So you could have looked at a number of those Scottish players. And as Justin alluded to, it's... a little bit unfair that we can't give it to the whole lot of them because they put in a really good shift today.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike, if I had it my way, I'd have given it all of them, to be fair. Quick word on England before you go, Mike?
Very poor tonight. I thought England would have been up for this game. Scotland were the side that were up for it a lot more. You could see the passion from them, the heart, the fight, the desire that they had, really, which was lacking from England. I thought Raheem Sterling had a poor game. And I think Harry Kane tonight and the previous game was poor as well. And, kind of a question that I wanted to bring in. Does all this talk of his Tottenham future, do you think that's a factor in why he's been so poor in these first 2 games for England?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of talk about him moving to Man City, isn't there? I mean, we'll divert the question to Russ. What do you reckon on the subject, Russ?
I think it could be because I think he's trying too hard to put a performance into say that he is capable of playing for one of the top sides, Man City, Chelsea, Man United, whoever comes in for him and whoever decides to sign him if he does end up leaving Tottenham. And I think he's trying to put a big performance in that he's not performing on the big stage for England. He's supposed to be the captain and he's walking around is very, very slow. But not just this game, it was very, very slow and walking around in the Croatia game. And he didn't really do much in that game either. And I could see why he took him off for Rashford. But for me, I'd have probably took Sterling off for Rashford. And if you wanted to fetch Kane off, I'd have probably fetched on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who
absolutely,
and he's been in good penalty area.
And he's been in good form for everything.
Just in one quick question before we do leave tonight, and he got a foul against Declan Rice. I was looking at it, I couldn't really scramble, and I couldn't really see where the foul was in there. I don't even know who committed the foul or how the foul was.
I think Mike's called it as a handball. I think, and I think that's what
I couldn't even see an handball in there, JB.
I think that's what they gave. I think that's what they given. And before we go, Russ, do you think it should have been a penalty against Scotland? I think they may have had. I think Sterling might have had a case.
Yes, and I just want to go back to the Netherlands game which you did yesterday, Justin. Where Dumfries, you saw him get stamped on inside the penalty area.
Sure. Yeah,
it was similar to that. And if that one's going to get given, then that one should have known VAR. We were different VAR people from the Dutch game yesterday, but in VAR, there's a lot of inconsistencies with that, and it got proven again tonight. If that one yesterday was a penalty, then this one tonight should have been a penalty, and I couldn't see why it was not given in. Not only did he stamp on his foot, the way he just took him out first and then stamped on his foot afterwards, that was a stonewall penalty. And I said to my dad downstairs when we were watching the game, I went to my dad, if that was John McGinn in the other area and he went down like that, the referee would have pointed to the penalty spot, because McGinn was taking out Phillips quite a lot of the time in the match tonight, even after he rolled on that yellow card, and he just kept getting away with warnings and warnings and warnings. But England went near a Scotland player, didn't even touch him, and he gave him a free kick. Well, one thing that reminds me about that as well, McGinn tried to go through where Phillips, he gave a free kick against Calvin Phillips when McGinn went through a gap which wasn't even there, and McGinn went into Phillips, and then McGinn went down and he gave a free kick. That was never a free kick as well, and I think this referee was getting quite a lot of decisions, and big decisions like that, towards Scotland. And if, like I said, if McGinn, Dykes, Adams went down after someone standing on their foot inside the penalty area, would have given pointed straight to the penalty spot.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Russ. And you've had the last word tonight on what's been a disappointing night for England, but a great one for Scotland. My big thanks to Russ and to Justin and to our match commentator, Mike Arnold. Thank you to everybody. Chris says, top coverage, by the way, chaps. So give everybody a pat on the back. We're all off to have a lie down. Before we go, I've just got a minute before we leave you. We've got 2 live matches for you tomorrow evening. At 5 o'clock, Russ Burnham will be bringing you live commentary of Portugal against Germany. That's in Group F. And then tonight and tomorrow night, Russ will be presenting and I'll be the commentator. So me and Russ will be sort of, well, not quite well reversed, if you know what I mean. But I'll be doing Spain against Poland. I'll be in the commentary box. Russ will be presenting, and that'll be live from about 7:45 tomorrow evening from Group A, and that will be played in Seville, and I'll be in the box for that one. But from the 4 of us tonight, on a disappointing night, but a great night for Scottish football, have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you all again for another 2 cracking games from Group F and from Group E tomorrow evening. For me, JB, and the rest of the team, good night.